Hello, everybody, and welcome to this glorious Smite League Upper Division final match tonight. Best of 5 game between Hels Minions and Dave's. Both of them making their way all the way through either the quarterfinals and the semi-finals through towards this final. After the seedings placed Dave's actually a bit further down than Hels Minions, but they managed to make it all the way through up to this final game and are looking to prove a point as they have done previously against Hels Minions. Tonight I am going to be on the desk, myself Ginger Archer, joined by Valblood Mitch, while
Hello, everybody.
our casters for later on in the games will be Sir Ionicus and Zats, with the one and only printers doing the job of spectating and production for us. Hopefully everyone's having a good evening so far, even amidst all of this heat.
Yeah, thankfully we have Printers our little goblin camera, so he'll be doing that as we will, and then we have two very talented casters for you during the game. And looking at these two teams, which ones do you think are going to come out on top in this? And hopefully, with this being a set of 5, it could go 3-2. That'll be very long though.
Good indeed. Now I know we've got some subbing occurring with Scroller Coaster subbing in for Hell's Minions, who has previously played for the Daves, which will make this a little bit interesting. But I'm looking at the teams on paper, and I really am liking the look of this Dave's draft. Minakino, Archie, Ptolemy, three very, very, very good players that I've seen perform quite consistently in this upper division. Not to take anything away from Hell's Minions, they've been good, but these are some players who really seem to stand out when it comes to the big tournaments, and I can see them doing so again today.
Yeah, and looking at these next few bands here, we see Umoja, Kepri, and Nemesis, and no surprises here. Same with these, all very standard first picks, first bands, because I mean, Kepri Umoja is extremely annoying to deal with, and then Nemesis can shred most of the backline, and then ESET really can flex into multiple roles and give a lot of objectives to secure. And with this being the finals, I can imagine we're going to see some pretty safe first picks overall.
Yeah, we'll see the Darji being banned out as well, so just getting rid of this mass CC that's available, and the Lancelot finally getting taken away, obviously available now for drafting, and a very strong pick should it get ahead, but that of course leaves open the Kali, which Hell's Minions straight away prioritizing here and locking immediately, so really looking to sort of power through to this late game and win this game through that as the condition. Counter ability is available for the Daves, things available like the Kumbhakarna. But with
Yeah.
Kepri off the table, this Kali can really go a bit rampant. And to counter it up, we are seeing a Yu Huang and a Cupid. So two characters who can self-peel relatively well, who can CC this Kali and burn her down before she gets a chance to take out her target.
Yeah, I mean, Cowley's a very understandable first pick. I think with this being a finals, I don't think I would have picked it straight away because there's a lot of counter ability to Cowley, and as you said, Yu Huang's safety and his damage, along with Cupid CC and damage, it's a very these top two already are quite difficult for Cowley to just solo down. So I think Hell's minions are going to have to pick around a team which they probably already plan to support this Cowley. Maybe something like taking away the Geb, so then the Geb can't kind of the Cowley, and then she can have the shields up. There it is.
And as you say, the Geb does come through. I wouldn't be surprised honestly if we saw something maybe not quite in the meta to come in and aid this Kali as well. Something like an Aphrodite to potentially come through with some healing, or a Hell for the CC immunity. That
Mhm.
cleanse is going to be huge should the Fields of Love come out. To just let the Kali run through and do what she wants.
I mean,
You
if they're being
could
spicy, they could do a Baron solo.
They could, or what I was thinking for solo would just be a mana that can just run at a Cupid for free anyway.
Hmm.
Does the same with a Yu Huang. If you got two gods that are just running at you, as well as the backline doing whatever they want, that could be a very tough start here for the Daves. Depending on what Hell's Minions pick up here, and obviously depending on what the Daves pick up as well. Nothing that can hugely lock down a Vamana as well as a Kali on the table still, but we do have picks available that can do nicely into the Kali. As we see a Hatchy Man, which can be both safe or aggressive, does well into Cupid, able to
Mhm.
just kind of sit there, heal, and avoid the damage. So, a nice safe pick here for I am 4 in the carry.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Hatchman's always one of those reliable ADCs. Gets a lot of damage, can lane fine, CC immune normally, can get away. And with the Geb, it's going to be extremely hard to get towards him. Plus, when it's in those fire giant engagements where both teams are like looking at each other, but nothing's really happening yet. With Hachiman's one, he gets that extended range for a bit of poke, which should hopefully enable his team to give that little push to go in. Because with the Geb knockup for the peel and stuff like that, and once Hell gets in, does a thing, and again, this is really focused on the Kali here because I think the Kali is going to be the one that's going to be picked around for both teams to support and counter her. And with this third pick for Dave's, I wouldn't be surprised if they pick something a bit supporty. Most, I think, probably a Kumba, because if Hachiman gets a bit brave, he can cancel him out. Of course, it's a really big pick into Kali and the Ratatoska.
Obviously another potential flex pick. We could right now be seeing this Ratatoskar in the jungle or in the solo with a variety of builds available. Obviously protection builds with Soul Eater in the solo lane, or to crit, or just blast a rat within the jungle, which can burn down this Kali before it gets the chance to move. So lots of options available for here for Daves. I think they're just kind of leaving the options open and seeing really what they want to go for. I think it's quite unlikely that this will be a crit Ratatoskar, just seeing the Geb on the other side, but we will see how this pans out. Another thing though, and you touched on it there, I do like the idea of this Hachiman poke with the Kali just because it allows her target to get low before the fight's even started. Now for a Kali, that's a nice little dream because, you know, she can go in there and kill her target without a huge amount of stress, meaning that she can come back into the fight afterwards and just do whatever she wants to do quite freely. So I'm massively in favour of this Hachiman with the Kali. I think it's a nice little combination there.
And then looking at the bans too, we have a Kleedner, very understandable. Then we have the Kabrakan, again, another very popular pick. And then I think the best two bans here are Baba Yaga and Ganesh. Ganesh is just overall one of the best supports in my opinion, and it's really good into Kali. And then we have a Jing Chen.
Yep, which is probably one of, if not the best supports right now. Geb does counter it individually quite well, however. That is a Jing Chen, which is going to shut down the Kali basic attack damage, is going to shut down Hachiman basic attack damage, is going to be burning beads constantly, as well as the Cupid ult and the Rat ult and combos. This is a very nice little team fighting composition, which is also going to allow a nice amount of peel against this Kali. She's going to struggle to get in there without good solo lane engage now. Obviously we have mentioned that the poke is available for the Hachi, but with a good engage, that's going to be difficult. Something like an Osiris will very much also get countered by the Jing Chen, but the Persephone in mid, though,
Ooh.
that's a big shift in the tides.
I mean, that's a lot of CC in a team fight. I mean, her ultimate is arguably one of the best major ultimates in the game. The amount of like team fight potential it like gives to a team, along with the people from the Geb and the setup from the Geb. Osiris, I think this could be a Jing Chen solo or a Rat solo. It could be either one. I think it's going to be Jing Chen support though, but I think Osiris does good into
Beads.
both of those.
More
I mean,
beads to be burned with the Swoombats here.
yeah.
It'll be interesting. I wonder if we're going to see a Bauble picked up here.
I don't know if we will. I mean, the nerfs went through like yesterday, so I don't think it's going to be that.
Are they through
Yeah,
now? So yeah,
yeah.
in that case,
Unfortunately,
very unlikely.
yeah, the item's unfortunately been nerfed. Now instead of giving the 60% cooldown, it only
The
gives 50.
50%, yeah. Which
Yeah,
also means
so.
Kali has been nerfed a bit though.
Mhm.
I don't know
But
how much this will have been tested. I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference, but we shall
yeah,
see how it goes.
the Carly nerf was basically like it was taking away 10% what's in it penetration from a passive, which I think you're definitely going to feel. But considering that her items weren't really touched, her overall kit wasn't touched, I don't think it's that big of a difference. You're going to feel it, but if you're an experienced Carly player, I think you're still going to feel comfortable. And looking at
Absolutely.
these two drafts, which draft are you more confident in?
I think until I saw the Osiris, I probably would have gone to Hels, but I don't see that it synergizes brilliantly for them here. I just don't think it was the play to make when you've got two sort of single target running in gods. It very much makes your engage difficult, whereas you look at Dave's, they've just got this massive disruption in their team. So because of that, game one goes to Dave's for me.
I'm thinking I'm going to sit with Hell's minions on this one. I really like the Kali because if it gets ahead, does a thing, then you know it's Kali. But then I really like the Persephone, I like the Geb, the Hachiman, just a lot of team fight potential. And even then, I think Osiris has an okay matchup into whoever against he's into solo lane, and then he can like space out pretty well when he's in solo lane. And then even then, if him and Kali choose one target, it's going to be very difficult to get away from both of those. So I'm going to sit on the back of Hell's minions here.
So we've got a split desk here. Don't forget for you in chat to put out your own votes. The poll was there available to see who you think will win out of Hell's Minions, and Dave's here for the first game of the best of 5 Upper Division Glorious My League final. Hopefully we get a good showing from both teams here. I'm really looking forward to this. Hopefully these players can all bring out their best. But we'll shortly be getting into the game here. If we're looking at this, you've mentioned the sort of Kali and Osiris picking down targets as the sort of key point for Hell's minions. My concern here is how do they transition this if the Daves were to engage on them first and be proactive? You got Humbats with a blink, which is going to force out Kali relics. Now, if you've got another engagement alongside it or after that, and say the Ratatoska ultimate or a Jingchen ultimate, or even just the Cupid popping out those fields of love for the disruption, how much are Hell's minions actually going to be able to engage and take the initiative here? I'm very worried that if they don't manage to find a bit of a lead in the early game and this game stays even, then it actually is just going to favour the Daves on that engage, even though Hells have such strong sort of picks for getting in your face.
I think one big thing that you mentioned is I think they definitely need to get a lead. And with this being, all for nothing, the big finals, I think they're definitely going to try and go for a lead. But if not, I think it's going to be heavily reliant on the Geb and the Persephone because Geb is like he's extremely hard to go into because you don't want to risk being knocked up in the note and then the ultimate. And if you CC someone, he still has a shield. And then with the Persephone, if they go all in dive, and then Persephone can ult back, hopefully locks a few of them down and hopefully burn some ults early so they don't, you know, try and stay on the Persephone ult. But overall, yeah, I do think if Dave's are the one leading with the lead, then I think the game's going to be in favor of Dave's. But I'm just going with Hell's minions. Yeah, I don't know. I have a really gut feeling about this.
Sometimes it is the best thing to just trust your gut on things. You never know where exactly it's going to go, even though the draft might seem to favour one team. We can never, can never confirm what's going to happen until the game actually goes into it. So we shall see how this one goes very, very shortly. I will point out actually something that we didn't pick up on the Kabrakan ban.
Hmm.
Something like obviously it can be played in multiple roles. You can see it in the jungle, support, actually even the mid as well, and in the solo lane at the moment with how things have been changing in the meta and the ranked. I'm wondering almost, obviously it's good, but do you reckon that might have been a target ban that someone's been trying to play this in their off time and sneak it onto the side?
I mean, it's very plausible, but I think Kabrakan's just a safe ban to get out of the way anyway. But I mean, if we looked at the situation of when it was banned, they only had Kali, Hachiman, Geb, and then Dave's had Yuhuang, Cupid, Rat. I think if they were to pick up the Kabrakan, whether it was a role they pick it for, Hachiman and Geb can't really get out of a Kabrakan ultimate. And then with the Cupid, Rat, and Yuhuang, there's just a lot of area damage to support it. So I think it was a safe ban, but yeah, I think it definitely could have been a priority ban.
Yeah, complete zonal control there, just locking things down. Obviously they've got some other good stuff, but yeah, Kabrakan ban definitely safe. So
Okay.
with that, we are going to get into game one, which means we are going to be passing on to the two casters today, Sir Ionikos and Zats. Take it away, gentlemen.
Hello, everybody in the Glarious Smite League. Yeah, it's gonna be a very, very interesting game. As was noted, it's gonna be very, very interesting comp in my opinion. Just one side looks like dive, one side looks like hi, we don't want you to dive. So it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, how are you looking at this game, Zats? Just draft wise right now.
Well, I think it's really interesting that the Hells Minions chose to first pick this Kali. I look at Dave's lineup and I just think they have so much that can deal with this Kali. I expect to see some early aggression into Kali's jungle, into Skorokos' jungle. You can do it with the Humbats. I'd more be looking at Minukino on this solo lane rat to really apply some pressure on that side of the map. Obviously, if Kali gets to late game, it's going to be a big, big problem. But I still think they have the tools to deal with it. They have so much hard CC just in the Humbat Soul. If they can play around that and lock down this Kali before she's able to get her ult off, then this game's only going to go one way, really.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see. It looks like a level 2 gank by the Humbats trying to shut down the Osiris' early pressure, and they might just get the kill here, but it looks like he's just gonna barely get out with his life. All abilities used by the red side, and good gank. But yeah, as you said, Minikino is gonna have to put some pressure, but I like the Osiris just to be able to counter that, and I think Humbats might have gotten the read on that as well. I mean,
Yeah,
Rat can invade, but Osiris.
Yeah, and it was a little bit unfortunate there. Minikino, a minion off of hitting level 2, and that changes the entire. I mean, that's likely a kill if the Ratatoska hits level 2 there, but both junglers are going to transition back into the mid lane now. And yeah, the Osiris is an interesting pick. It's kind of a one size fits all. It's got good flex potential, but it's solo lane. It's still perfectly fine. I think it brings decent pressure. You'll certainly be able to fight into this Raptoska, as Mex is showing, actually. Could be kill potential. First blood. Wow.
Damn, Mex. Damn. My apologies. My apologies, actually. Next showing off what Osiris can do. He's showing what Osiris can do. Whew,
Yeah,
was,
crazy.
that was something.
You can never underestimate how much damage an Osiris can do. It's just that constant, sustained poke that you're getting while throwing out the sickle. That stun lands, and really, there's nothing you can do as a Ratatoska. Interesting now, we've got a switch over as we see an invade, actually, from Squirrel Coaster and Hewitt onto the red buff. And again, Archie Baker has had to show face on the right-hand side of the map, perhaps defend the blue buff. They don't know what's going to happen after that solo kill, so they feel they have to defend that side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel bad just getting solo killed over in solo lane. But it was very, very heads up just on mid laner to go to that red buff. Very, very. Yu Huang, early game, not what he's known for. Persephone, a little bit better. So.
And that's one thing that strikes me about this Yu Huang is so incredibly safe. I think especially into Kali, you can sit in the air for pretty much the whole duration of that destruction of that Kali ult. So I really like the pick. It's very difficult to fight a Yu Huang. He's just again so safe. So even with a Persephone who's got lots of poke and you kind of want to fight, you can't really do it. So Ptolemy just needs to sit back, farm up a little bit. Both mids looking to be going to the Warlock staff. As Archie Baker does hit level 5, but not much in the way of kill potential just yet.
Scary. I've seen some bats. If I hit 5 there, they're just gonna, drop the ult, and that's just a kill there, maybe. But probably smarter that he doesn't. And speaking of Hoonbats 5, now that we've hit it, where would you want to see Archie Baker go at this point? Because right now he's looking at the mid lane, but that ultimate, just a huge tool for Hoonbats, especially his gank potential. Where would you want to see that going in here? I know we said solo lane, but
there's actually a lot of targets for the Sunbats. You've got Mex, who is yet to buy a relic. Pot could go into the TP, could go into the beads, or could also go into the blink. But Kali doesn't have beads. I'd be looking at this Geb, honestly. I think Geb can be really susceptible to early ganks from the jungler. I think Humbats, while he isn't the most aggressive in the early game, that ult is always going to be impactful. And you have plenty of lockdown with the Cupid ult, with the Humbats ult, to lock down this Geb. But that's kind of where I'd be looking for, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you are correct in all honesty that Gab would probably be easy targets. No beads for one, and two, what is he gonna do? He's gonna shield himself while he's CC'd.
Exactly. There's no counter to that. Once you're in that Fear No Evil, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you got Fields of Love from Cupid, and if nothing else, you got the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel to just make it a definitive "you are gone" moment. So definitely will be interested to see what happens here. Told me, please don't get soloed by green buff. Okay. He chooses to leave that one there for now.
Yeah, I do think that that's probably one of the better targets. As I said, there are a lot of targets. I also don't think you have to do much as a Humbats. You're kind of happy to farm up. Has gone the Crusher actually, which so actually this Humbats has quite a lot of attack speed already. Obviously that's not where you're going to orient the build. It's just an Eye of the Jungle and Crusher. As a side note, you get some attack speed, but your damage is going to be decent. Your cooldown, not so much. Those ults are going to have to be used very, very sparingly because the cooldown on that is very, very long. And at the moment, you're not going to have any CDR in the build at all.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting. Definitely tells me that he wants to be a little bit more aggressive on the map at least. So that'll be interesting to see because though your ult will be used sparingly, you're going to deal the damage more than you would with the Jotuns. So
and I think it's best to think about that as well, actually, it's kind of the flip side of that is that actually Archie might just be looking to clear those jungle camps as quickly as possible. You've got a bit of attack speed and the passive. It's all about clearing jungle camps quickly. And so I think it suggests lots of farming for Archie Baker.
Yeah, and we might see a Fear No Evil here. Fear No Evil does come out, gets the Persephone beats, gets the Persephone ultimate, does get shielded by Geb, but unfortunately not enough. And maybe Geb falls here as well as 3 people. Gebel does come out. Kali has originally come in to join the fight. Hachiman ult does claim the life of Hoonbats there. Looks like the rest of the red team understanding that the risk is a little bit greater than they would like, is starting to back off here. Maybe if Kali can get the stun off in just a second. Running for Ptolemy here. Ptolemy does go into the 3 that Banish coming from earlier, or we talked about earlier, coming in handy, saving Ptolemy's life. As Cupid coming on Dahlia here, and that's a dead Geb. Maybe a little bit too much overcommitment there from the blue team.
Yeah, so in the end, I think that's just about a 2-for-1. I think Hewitt and Data fall, but they do get a response pick. So not too bad. It's a decent engagement. I think Mino actually could be in trouble here. There's a gank from Scroller Coaster.
Mino Kino
needs to ult now. Yeah, okay.
Cyrus ult is grabbed for it a little bit. Maybe just trying to get that extra damage, but Rat does get out. So good on Mino Kino for not hesitating. He's like, oh, that's death. Okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah, let's go back to that fight a bit. It was a good engagement. Archie Baker, nice little jump to avoid the Persephone ult, but when you're in the jungle like that, that ult is going to spread and hit everyone. So it kind of locked them in, and fair play to Hewitt, who managed to bait just long enough for Scroll to be able to come in, and then Iron 4 gets a good mounted archery shot as well. So in the end, they kind of get a good return fight. The Kali gets a good blink stun onto about 3 people, I think. And from there, it actually they managed to get a good return. So credit to the mid laner there, who you can't really do much more than that. Just try and bait them for as long as you can, and lock them all in with that ult. So no one's too unhappy with that so far.
Yeah, the only downside is that your Geb and Kali may be chasing a little bit too much for a Yu Huang who's just 3'd to his tower. But
sure,
yeah. Other than that one, just over step, it was a pretty good fight. As we might have a fight over the blue, no, not over the blue buff, but looking at the blue buff. But everyone's just tend to walk away as it's already done.
Actually, this Kali is being, I would argue, more aggressive than the Humbats, which is perhaps not something you always see. But again, that says a lot about what builds they have. This Golden Blade allows you to hyper farm really, really well. I know this is the style of play that Scroll likes to do, but actually, you're able to farm more efficiently, and is actually doing a better job of at least attempting to invade some of Archie Baker's farms. So I really, really like this so far.
Oh no, Mino Kino, watch out! That ultimate is up, so he is gonna go ahead and use it. I was looking over, and it's like, if that ultimate's not up, you might just be dead there. But smart on him not to, or to have it up before proxying as the blue buff's coming up.
Yeah, and there's an attempt, but not successful from Archie Baker. This is I don't mind the invade attempt there. You didn't lose any of a farm. I mean, apart from Mina Kino actually took some of the backs, but that will go down as a failed invade. And again, I'm a little bit worried about this Humbats. You're not going to have a lot of power online with this build going into the Hydras and Lament by the look of it. So he's going to swing, but I think the longer this goes, the more this is going to favor the Kali, you'd have to think.
I mean, it is a Kali, notorious for being just the late game hyper carry that 1v5s or whatever Kali wants to do if you're not watching her correctly. So it is very, very interesting to see that the Toonbats is not leveraging the early pressure he gets from level 5 to mid game with this ultimate. Oh, and looks like Kali, as you were saying, being a lot more aggressive than the Toonbats, and it's kind of hurting him at this point. I mean, like, Mino Kino, this is second blue buff he's had walked at this point. Last time it was
Mino stole, I think. Well, stole his own buff. Nice work. Kind of makes up for it. And again, we're seeing what Archie's doing in response, going to the other side of the map. Not interested in fighting, and I'm 4 is going to fall here. That is the kind of response you're looking for. You've got an invade on the right-hand side of the Kali. Ignore the Kali. Go to the duo lane and pick a target there. Great work.
Yeah, that was a beautiful. I didn't even like. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep more eye on this over here on the map, and that was a perfect gank from Archie there. So I'm very, very glad that you caught that one.
And I think I don't know when the Hachiman ult was forced, but it looks like Iron4 had already used it. Maybe Gods had baited that with the Cupid ult, with the Fields of Love, as we see a quick pause coming in. But that meant Iron4 caught mid dash. Even then, if you do beads, and the beads were about as on time as you could get them because you can't really do it mid animation. So Good Fear No Evil caught the dash, and at that point, it's kind of a double whammy because Ironfall loses their life and loses their beads in the process, and now it's a 2-level lead for Gods for Life.
And that's very, very important for them as well, because this Osiris
Hmm.
has been accumulating that lead over in the solo lane. I mean, it's just Osiris early game. He's gonna beat you up. So very, very heads up by the Humbats to get the other side of the map ahead, because after the nerfs recently, I don't think Osiris was boxing a Cupid late game.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
yeah.
I think Osiris can be, you can have a lot of mitigations, and actually, I quite like Osiris diving into a Cupid. I think, as long as you have ult to immune the Fields of Love, then there's not really a lot Cupid can do. We'll see if Mex perhaps goes Blink to help with that a little bit, because I think it's that will also help when going onto this Yu Huang as well, being able to close the gap and basically cover that distance while Yu Huang is in the air is going to be pretty important come late game.
Yeah, but then there's the risk. They were talking about it on the desk. That is a Whirlwind of Rage and Steel,
Mm-hmm.
a Fields of Love,
Yep.
a Fear No Evil,
Mm-hmm.
not to mention Rat ult has a knock up in his CC, and then you've got Yu Huang who's just safe as can be. Like, so
Yeah.
maybe like if he chooses to go Blink, then I see that as a win con for the Dave's team there. I mean, there's a guy without beads like at all in team fights. Let's just get him, boys.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would argue that Osiris is perhaps one of the few characters that is inherently tanky enough to get away with that, but it's still going to be tricky. You're going to have to be very careful. And then, maybe we'll see the beats, but I wouldn't mind either way.
It does seem like he's opting for the beats, just hitting the level 12 mark and
Fair
goes and
enough.
buys them. So, I mean, good call. I mean, it would be fun to see an Osiris blinking on the back line and probably would help them tremendously. Um, but it looks like that he'll be opting to just ult in maybe. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how these team fights go going into these late game fights.
Yeah, and they've still got a Kali who is pretty good at diving the back line. It's fair to say. So I'm sure that won't be a problem. I mean, we're 30 minutes in. It's been a fairly slow start. Again, that's not surprise as we see a trade of ults in the duo lane. That's nothing to expect. It's been pretty quiet across the map. Really, most of the action has been seen in the sort of the solo side, you have to say, which is not surprising when you see the kind of picks we got there. But it has been a pretty slow game, and we are pretty even still. And that's not surprised when you see what two junglers they have. Again, neither looking to leverage the early game, more looking to scale into that late game. And as I say, it's still going to favour the Kali, and it is a bit of a ticking time bomb. Kali is just getting stronger and stronger, now has the chin size online, so tanks had better beware. No one is safe from this Kali.
Yeah, I mean, once that Kins is online, you get Kins, you get Golden Blade that gives you the movement speed, a little bit less than it was. Being so mean to Scroller Coaster over here, but he might pay for it. I mean, as we were just saying, Kali's hitting her power spike, but Archie Baker there to kind of bail him out. But yeah, as you were saying, I mean, Kin size, that Jing Chen's not going to exist anymore in fights. He's tanky. It'll take a little bit because, just tank stats, but it's going to take not as long as it would before that to kill him. So
Yeah, and it's also going to be really effective into Ptolemy, who of course has stacked a load of health, which is bog standard for mid laners at the moment. But it's not going to be much of a difference. But you are going to see it. The Kins is even more efficient this game because there's a Warlock staff mage as well. It all helps, and it all means that this kin size is just such a big power spike for Kali.
yeah, it definitely is. And I also wanted looking at these objective fights, right? We got Kali is obviously going to jump on the back line and do all that as they're grouping around objectives. Yeah, I was sitting there as wait, are they gonna fight each other real quick over Pyro? Are we gonna do a scene this? And no, it didn't happen. But going in these fights, we already talked about Humbats, Whirlwind of Rage Steel, Hearts of Love. I think we didn't really talk much about the counter engage that the Hels minions have. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
Absolutely. Persephone can do work, and we've already seen a little glimpse when you get Dove on. If you've got the relics, you can throw the ult out. You can do a bit of damage, cause a bit of mayhem, and if your teammates are nearby and they're able to follow up, you're absolutely right. It's a really good counter engage, and Geb also helps with that. I've just seen the Stone of Gaia on the Geb, which I think is kind of cool. Again, lots of health stacked up, and it's interesting now that God's Life has actually just finished that kin size as well for the Cupid, because that is a very healthy Geb, but perhaps lacking a bit of protections.
Yeah, I mean, you're lacking the protections, but you do have that Gauntlet of Thebes that gives you an exorbitant amount of procs right there. I mean, you might as well be the Green Giant at this point with that item. So, I mean, he is healthy. He does have his prots, so the skin size on the Cupid will help a lot. I think it'll also help a lot into this Osiris. We were talking about how tanky he was going to be late game. Going into an attack speed shred build, I think, is going to help Cupid out a little bit more than, say, a crit build. Crit will kill the Kali quicker, but she's going to be ulting anyway, so she's not going to die as fast as you want her to.
Yeah,
So.
and then there goes the first actual objective of the game. If we're not counting those scorpions, Pyromancer goes for free. Kali can do that. Humbats probably can, to be fair. It might take a little bit longer, and obviously Kali has some help as well from Hewitt in the mid lane, who's doing I think a really solid job. Really quite far ahead in terms of gold is Hewitt, despite the fact that Ptolemy has not died, and that's one less than Hewitt has. But Hewitt has actually got a very significant gold lead, and I think that's again, it comes down to these junglers a bit more, I suppose. There's been less leashing from Scroll, who's been farming up a storm. It's really, really interesting. But in fact, it's going to be Daves who pull the gold for you, and it's already getting low.
It's low. I mean, we got Gebel going in there. The Daves do secure it with the Hoon so Field Gloves does come out for Geb. Geb does die. Lack of beads not helping you there. And Yu Hongul trying to push the Hachiman back in. I think gets his bead, and the mounted archery. Rat does decide to dive the T2 tower, gets the Aegis, but I think that's just Rat dead. Rat trades his life at least for IM4. Maybe a little bit overstaying, but does get the objective that he wanted. So both the objective and 2 kills on the backside.
And I don't mind that from Inakino. I don't mind. You get both relics off of IM4 that the ult's already used. You trade your life, and even though you're level 17, IM4's level 16, I don't mind that. But there's blinking massive damage from Scroller Coaster, and Archie Baker has been destroyed.
Poor Archie, man. Just blink stun to oboe. There's nothing to come. You're not coming back from that.
And again, Kali has reached critical mass. There's really not much counterplay around it. If you get caught, and the beats were used by Archie Baker, but no ultimate available, and that's really, really crucial. If you need that home battle, otherwise you simply cannot fight Kali with this kind of build. Even when you finish that Heartseeker, no Brawlers beat stick online, so that's obviously more impactful after Kali's killed you. So I can see why you wouldn't have that yet. But again, anti-heal is still really good into Kali. But that's a big level deficit. That the build is making it difficult for Archie to fight into Kali, and it's a really great pick from Scroller Coaster, and a good answer back from that Gold Fury.
Yeah, it makes sure that the only loss is that the objectives their only loss because it evens out the kills. Minokino having traded his life for that Hachiman. But I like Humbat. I'm looking at Humbat's build. We were talking about how he didn't get Jotuns, right? Now he's got Jotuns, so I mean, the ult's gonna be up a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But
I think that the problem is you picked up Jotuns, but you were already 4 levels behind. Wow, look at the damage, but the destruction might be able to turn this around.
4 people on this Cupid does get his life for how many ultimates? 3 ultimates. Rat looking for Kali here. Does see her amongst 4 as the red team, Dave's ready for this engagement, knowing that there is no Kali ult. Does catch out Scroller Coaster on the backside. Hewitt forced to run away as fast as possible, but the entirety of red team chasing her down. Rat does get the kill, leaving just 2 members over here on this side for the Hels minions.
Okay, so that actually wasn't too bad. Scroll baits quite a long time. Credit to Gods for Life, who did a lot of damage, but in the end, that was a 4-person rotation behind Gods' tower, and Dahlia could be in a lot of trouble here.
Oh no, Dahlia. Dahlia, I think a bit tanky to die, so it'll take a little bit. So, but, I mean,
Taking a
that's a lot of
while.
damage.
A
A
lot
lot
of
of
CC.
damage. Holy heck. Dahlia does fall underneath her own T1 tower. Uh, I was honestly thinking they were gonna live there, and then Demon just comes out and has the biggest body blocks of his life. I imagine, just dead.
Yeah.
But
That was really nicely done, and the slows were really helping as well. Just slows into roots. It's so difficult for Geb to get away, and this, I was saying that Geb needs to be the target early, and it's happened a little bit later than I thought. But this Geb 0-3, not actually particularly behind, and I don't think Dali's too unhappy with how this game has gone so far. But that's kind of a glimpse of how easy it can be if you're caught in your own as the Geb. But they started the Fire Giant.
Fire Giant at 21 minutes. I guess it is 21 minutes, but got a blink in from Demon. He does go in, uses the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel to push them away. Dave's, they're kind of backing off here. Mex being the menace that he has been on the solo side now on Ptolemy. No 3, but on the backside, IM4 has been Bats ulted, forced to run away as quickly as possible. Mino Kino cannot get in the ultimate fast enough before Hewitt drops him. And Mex doing a wonderful job just zoning these two individuals of Demon and Ptolemy here as everyone else had a reset. And it looks like Hell's minions are going to grab the Pyromancer. Mex can't get away with this. He can't sit there in front of 4 people as he does bait out the Fields of Love. Hell's minions going back in for the re-engagement. Dahlia does get a great ultimate onto 3. Ptolemy low, but Demon even lower. Does fall to Mex, and it's going to be 5 versus 3. Does pull the Yupong ult. Does get the kill on Scroller Coaster, and Dahlia might be next. Dahlia is next. Daves are turning this around. Bats doesn't have ult, but does jump in, has the damage. Gods for Life does pick up IM4. That turnaround, though, insane for the side of Daves. Maybe even get Mex here. Yeah, 100%. Bats passive Hydras. That is a combo and a half. 4 for 3 in favor of Daves there.
And I think Hell's Minions, it starts so well. You were absolutely right to call out how well Mex was doing, zoning 2 of them. We're seeing how effective Osiris is into the Yu Huang. You can pop that tether, and Yu Huang can't actually escape it. I think both relics were used by Ptolemy, and then you still have the ultimate to jump onto this Yu Huang. But that was really great work. Then they kind of overstay their welcome and go for a fight rather than taking the objective. And now Daves have the perfect opportunity to get a free Fire Giant.
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate, especially as you said, they overstayed their welcome, which gave everyone on the Daves time to respawn while the rest of Hell's minions are just dead. Free Fire Giant. Just easiest call of the life. There was something I was thinking of. But yeah, no, that fight was like really, really, really well played by the Daves, I think.
And the difference is the initial fight that they arguably lost. And then there was kind of a second fight, which Hell's Minions started. They looked for the re-engage. It was the Cataclysm, and then Kali jumped in, got a triple stun. That was the fight. That's when Gods for Life showed up, because Gods for Life was not present in that initial fight. When this Cupid showed up, that's when they started turning the fight. And Ptolemy did a good job as well, a brilliant ultimate to pull back the Kali. That's what made the difference, is that the carries were able to get off a bit more damage, and I think a lot of credit goes to God for Life.
Yeah, and unfortunately, IM4 forcing the mounted archery as 4 members of Dave's are just hunting him, pinging him, just being like, "This guy's got to go, boys." They're just gonna take Gold Fury here, maybe try and bait out some aggression over here. But yeah, very, very Gods for Life has been basically running a clinic this game. Mex on one side for the Hell's minions, but Gods for Life on the other, I think doing just a bit better here. Dive onto this T2. They do catch IM4. No ultimate. Does get stunned. Does get the Aegis. But Whirlwind of Rage and Steel coming out, forcing the beads. And the Persephone also comes out. And Kali over on the right side of the map is getting some split push. But unfortunately, her team on this side is falling. Dahlia and Mex, frontliners, dead before the siege has even begun.
Okay, so I kind of think Scroll should have stayed there. I mean, You did force Minakir to back, but I mean, what's Akali going to do here? There's 5 members, and you've got no tanks to engage for you. This is all on the Kali to blink in and try and do something. But actually, they're going to back off a little bit, which I wonder if they're trying to bait them in a little bit. Then they'll re-engage. That would make sense to me. They got a minion wave coming in now. This is definitely a fight they can take. 10 seconds on Geb. They should go for this Phoenix here.
Yeah, as they do in fact press the go button. No relics on IM4, and Minokino zoning themselves out. Scroller Coaster forced the ult, but unfortunately doesn't have the precise timing and dies to Archie there. And unfortunately, the rest of the blue team has to just kind of give up that Phoenix. I mean, as you said, Geb had a few seconds left. Nex is just now coming up, and they can maybe defend this middle Phoenix, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough one here. They just lost the most important bird before Fire's even off of the side of Dave's.
Yeah, this is quite a big stalling job that Hels Minions need to do now. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. They have their tanks back up, but the sustain coming through with Fire Giant, Cupid heals as well. It's really difficult. There's an engage, gets some beat, but it's all going wrong in the back line.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, great blink ult from the Geb, but unfortunately, an even better blink ult from the Hoonbats, taking out both carries. No, not both carries. The carry and the support do fall, though.
And I think we're seeing a real problem with this draft. It's really difficult to dive this Yu Huang, who is doing an absolute work. Ptolemy from the back line is firing off these dueling dragons, and they're doing a lot of damage and a lot of displacement as well. You can do it from a long way away. It's proving really, really valuable in all of these fights. And Ptolemy hasn't died yet, and I think that's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, the safety of Yu Huang is just something that cannot be understated.
Yep.
It's basically you got a free Charybdis in mid lane without picking Charybdis, and then having just probably one of the best bursts in the game for mages at this point. So.
Yeah, and they're still in it. They've only lost one Phoenix. It's as you mentioned, the worst one, especially if you're wanting to defend Fire Giant. Which, I mean, it's not enhanced. I would almost say give this Fire Giant up and see if you can defend with 5 members under Phoenix. You have a chance there, I think. And the lead is big, but it's not insurmountable. So I would leave this Fire Giant, get some split push, get some farm, and then see how you fare in a 5v5 under your own Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see the defense. I do think that this Fire Giant could be given up, as you said, but I will also say that I think it could be a game decider if they do not defend it. So it's gonna be a matter of like one way or the other. It's gonna just be a bad situation. But yeah, we'll see how the 5v5 goes. Looks like Dahlia trying to go get some pressure on the Dahlia, but Ptolemy, finger ready on that 3 button, just was waiting for an engagement from Hels Minions here.
Unlucky. I think just out of range to apply the knock-up on that rollout. I don't think it was cancelled, but it may well have been. And then, it gives you just enough time. A millisecond is all you need to get that 3 off. And Yu Huang's so safe, man.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. Max is getting engaged on by the 5 members of Dave's here and doesn't lose too much HP, but that is 60% HP on Max. Is just going to sustain that up on a camp with this Death Stole. But, I mean, you got Dave's ready for this Fire Giant. Maybe trying to wait out that timer for this EFG. Only 50 seconds for that as Scroller Coaster gets caught out on the backside. Has to jump away, but Yu Huang will force on the backside. Scroller Coaster looking to just get out. But he got Ptolemy. He got Ptolemy's ult. So that is at least one bit of safety out. But Hoonbats is going on the backline. A Scroller Coaster nowhere to be seen. Whirlwinds of Rage of Steel into Fields of Love. Nothing's going to stop Dahlia from dying there as they're going to re-engage Dave's going onto this enemy team. IM4 left alone to his own devices. And Hels Minions down too are just going to have to give this Fire Giant. And this could end up being EFG if Dave's decided to be patient enough.
I hope that and I think they are, they're going to stall it out. It's actually a little risky because Hewitt and Scroller Coaster are here. This is not free. They're dicing with death here. Look at the damage that Fire Giant is doing to them. Now it's enhanced. It ticks over. They can secure it if they can, but they'll look for the fight here. This could be good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it could be really, really good for them.
Minokino
has to run away, but Scroller Coaster running away gets stunned by the Heart Bomb. just 1 second away. Hewitt
Wow.
does get a trade back on the Ptolemy, his undying streak falling here, but Gods for Life is gonna just dash to follow the Hewitt, and Hewitt, I'm sorry, buddy, you should be okay. I was gonna say hit an auto. Auto hits, you're dead. But Nex is gonna go in, try and clean up this
Nice
Cupid
try.
here. That sustain, misses the ultimate, misses the dash, whirlwind, a Rage of Steel used to peel out, and Kino here to re-engage full health tank, and it's a full health ADC basically at this point. Nex is maybe overcommitted a little bit.
I think this Cupid pick might be one of the best Kali counters I've ever seen, and I honestly didn't think about it. Sure that the Fields of Love is going to really help if you're getting dove by Kali, but these heart bombs that are so good, and they're being timed so well by Gods for Life to stun Kali just as the destruction ends. And there was a steal attempt from I'm4, which is fair enough. Does have the ultimate, should be fairly safe. Although Rat is on the tree.
Girl is coming up, and he is rather tanky. Double mitigations, does get the Geb Shield onto IM4, but unfortunately, lots of things used on him. And IM4 almost dying anyway. That was crazy. They had to use Geb ultimate, Geb shields, Geb everything to peel out for IM4, and they've got a Phoenix Siege maybe coming up on their hands. 4 members of Dave's here, but looks like they're going to back up and not take that fight.
Yeah, they have a lot of gold in hand. They haven't backed in a long time, so they've got they need to spend to make sure this lead is actually in pocket. Now it's just a question. The left Phoenix is back up. They've got all 5 members up for the Hels minions. It is now an enhanced fire giant, and that's a little bit unfortunate. I think they actually did a good job of stalling them out, and they were unlucky not to wipe Dave's, honestly, from that fire giant, because they took so much damage from it. They were all low, but again, Scroll just couldn't get onto a target. Demon has looked really good with the peel from these hooks. They're doing so well. And also, I briefly mentioned it earlier. These heart bomb stuns from God's for Life are so well timed onto the Kali. It's really cool to see.
As it looks like Dave's is going to siege left side Phoenix, but as you're saying, it is very unfortunate. I think that the side of Hell's minions has been kind of just tunnel visioning, going in one by one at these low health targets instead of actually properly fighting, and that's been costing them these past few fights in my mind.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they fight now that they're forced into 4 group up on this Phoenix. Base is right there, so if anyone does have the reset, it's right there. Persephone dealing some damage. Ptolemy just already 60% HP just from the poke from Persephone here, but
yeah, and they need to take this fight, because EFG will just keep doing work. They need to keep this Phoenix up. They are going for the fight. It's not bad. Health bars are low.
Great. Fields of Love does come out. Yu Huang ult does come out. Both Dahlia
No one's dead.
and the
Kali
here. Kali forced the ultimate. Doesn't get any resets. None of her targets were among the 2 people she killed. Heart bomb's damage. Barely not enough to kill her on the back end, but Rat's not scared. He's going to dive you, Hewitt. Aegis is used. And Kino will pick up the kill with the help of Ptolemy, and that left bird will fall to the side of Dave's, and they could look for an end. Actually, never mind. Gods for Life did die in that engagement, was one of the 2 targets Kali did take out, so they are going to sweep the birds, though.
It was really unfortunate. It was a great honor. Kali has gone in, but no ultimate available, and that honestly could end the game now.
Yeah, now that the Kali's gone, there's nothing stopping you. The only thing stopping you is how much damage Titan can do, but they do have a minion wave, so they can choose to get out. And that will be game for the side of Dave's. Wow. Great fight from them, I will say honestly. They played that very well, very clean. I think if you're Hell's minions, I think you got to look for maybe finding something that doesn't dive a Yu Huang or ban out the Yu Huang to be able to use your strategies effectively.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Actually, I just think Yu Huang did fall once. The damage was coming out a lot. I really like the Cupid. Honestly, I think the Cupid looked great. That was about as well as Hell's minions could have hoped for in that fight around left Phoenix. Scroll gets a double kill, but I don't know. You just need. Dahlia needs to get off the Geb. I think that needs to change. I think Mex looked really good. The Hatchiman was okay, not such a high impact pick compared to Cupid. I also thought the Persephone was fine. I don't know. It was just difficult to kill this Yu Huang, who I think was putting out solid damage. And in the end, they managed to kill off Gods and Demon, but it cost them pretty much the whole team. And I guess that's the problem at the end of the day. But plenty of games to go. There's plenty of room for comeback here.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see how their plan changes. As you said, I don't know if the Gab worked the best or for that comp, but it'll be very,
Yeah.
very interesting to see how they go. But we're gonna go ahead and let the desk segment go ahead and take over for us here. And yeah, see you next game.
So a very, 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 very good first game. Brilliant set coming out from the Daves to take that first one. Putting themselves a little bit behind around the solo lane plays, picking up that first blood, but overall they managed to come back into it and lift that up. Mitch, what do you think went well for the Daves? What do you think it was that allowed them to take that game one?
I just think Days were more on the same page when it came to like picking targets and doing objectives because there's a lot of situations where Hell's minions in particular were going in at very different times to each other, and that just led to them being picked off. And then when they did manage to win, like the big team fight on fire, instead of just playing safe, going for the objective, or maybe even backing and coming back healthier, they just over pushed it a little bit. And honestly, I went with my heart, but I should have went with my brain. Honestly, I really hope for Hell's Minions to win game one, but unfortunately, they have to try and come back in game two.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. I think because momentum had slipped and they found this fight where suddenly it had gone well and they wanted to push things and then they just pushed it that little bit too far. Um, other things I want to credit the Daves for is they had all some really good AOE ultimates and damage, but they weren't necessarily just using it in big AOE fights. They weren't looking for this perfect moment every time where it's very likely that Hell's minions were going to have relics available and ultimates and cooldowns to keep them alive. They are happy to just pick off a target and say they used this cooldown in the last fight. I'm going to pop a Hoombat's ult on them or a Fields of Love ult them, and we're going to see these ultimates come out to influence a team fight even before it had started, and I almost use it as a single target ultimate. There's no reason that these ultimates can't be used for that, and as Dave showed there, they used it really effectively to actually do this big AoE damage, but use it on the single target and just lock them down while keeping the other team members and the cleanses and all the support away from it because they were just able to isolate. It was really, really good use of ultimates from that. I think overall that was what sort of won Dave's the game. I think they didn't look for almost perfect moments. They didn't look for these perfect, we have to do this now and this now, and we have to use all of these things together. They're just thinking, oh, let's just do this. It's available. Why not use a cooldown for a Geb, for example? If you're taking that cleanse and that massive team fighting ultimate out of it, how much team fight of Hell's minions got left? Not very much. So yeah, they utilized that really well. I think that was the main thing for the Daves.
Yeah, just in every team fight as well, you can tell that Geb was one of their main focuses because I mean that man did not survive nearly any team fight. Like he was just gone. And as you said, Fields of Love, Fear No Evil are ultimates that don't really have to be used conjoined because both of them provide plenty enough to a team fight, right? And then one thing I'd like to point out as well, Ptolemy with the Yu Huang, he was just way too difficult for Scroller Coaster to really dive because as soon as he freed out, he was safe. His ults were just coming out constantly, doing so much damage to the team. And then, as well as Mino Chemo, like him in the backline was just terrifying. The fact that Geb lost his shield, his shell, his ult, and even then, IM4 just barely manages to survive that. It just showed that Daves were on pretty much all on the same page, whilst Hell's minions were a bit more scattered in what they wanted to do. There was a lot of times where Scroller Coaster came a bit like into the fight, or he just wasn't there at all, or I don't know, because Scroller Coaster did play well for the most part. He did well in the early game, he did well in the mid game, but late game he just didn't seem to be on the same page. And unfortunately, when he did manage to get kills, they weren't his targets, so he had to retreat fairly early into the fight. And as soon as Daves knew which target he was going for, they just protected him with all their life.
Yeah, I think the other thing, and I think this is almost the way that Hell's minions were allowed to get back into it, is that Daves did use a fair amount of influence to actually get gods for life on that Cupid ahead. That fire giant fight that we mentioned went wrong. The reason it went wrong is because that fight, obviously, they had to try and stop it. And Demon went in. He stopped that engagement. Fair enough. He left, but then the fight was taken afterwards before gods got there, and that was why it was so almost difficult for the Daves to take that fight. And fortunately, they didn't lose too much from it. But that was the main thing, was they got this one carry ahead. They got almost their win condition for the game. Same as Hell's minions were trying to make the Kali that win condition. They got this Cupid ahead, they had their win condition, and then they just took a fight. They forgot about it almost, and they didn't take that fight around that player. And I think that was what lost them that particular fight. But after that, they were just playing around God's, his ults were there on point. Everything was sort of around playing around him and keeping him alive. As you can see, only 2 deaths on the Cupid, the character without a CC immune ultimate and without a CC immunity in a kit, without a cleanse on the team. So that goes to show how well they're protecting him and how well they're playing around Gods in these fights and allowing that win condition to do its thing.
Yeah, it's also worth noting as well with the Persephone and Osiris, both Mexi and Hewitt did play really well in those picks. Mexi managed to keep some room in the back line, managed to stay alive for quite most of the time, and he managed to, of course, solo Minakino and Lane, and then Persephone had some really good ults in team fight, which she managed to delay Dave's in team fights, and she did manage to get some good picks. But unfortunately, like the performance, whilst good individually, just as a team, again, I'm just repeating myself to hear that they were just better. And I think going into game 2. I think if they maybe play a bit more team fight oriented gods, group up a bit more, I think they definitely have the chance to bring it back.
I think they played Gods that are gonna, I'm gonna outdo you in lane, or I'm gonna outdo you in the jungle. And then, yeah, maybe they'd outdone them in lane and in the jungle, but suddenly there was another lane. And
Yeah.
once that came into play, and it's like, oh, well, now I've got to deal with 2 lanes, not just mine. And my lane's off doing something else, so I have to deal with a different lane, but I'm not built to deal against this lane. And suddenly I'm in danger now, and that's, I think, the start of why it fell apart. And as you said about the sort of grouping, they were very split. How many times did we see Mex and Scroller Coaster trying to engage, and they're maybe an entire lane away in terms of length, from IAM4 and JQ in the back? It was so split, it was just difficult for any cohesive fights for Hell's minions, whereas Dave's could just sort of pick off targets. And I think, yeah, so as you say, some better picks would be better, and just some better positioning in fights. Um, with that though, we will transition into a very, very short break before we get into the picks and bans ahead of game 2. Predictions are already up in the chat, so if you've got an idea of where you think this next game is going to go, get that ready. Although for me, I'm waiting for picks and bans. I want to see how this goes.
To a freak show, look through the peephole. Everybody geek, yo, need to get girl with an extremely deep. See 6 midgets that be fighting, juggling. Maybe it's just me, cause my mind is struggling. Babes, boyfriend is acting like a clown. Know what's going down every time that we are down. Take a look through the peephole. Yo, everybody's getting geek, bro. Stop the hate and let them neeks know that we turn the club into a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club, yeah, we turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club into a freak show. Look at Snow White eating rotten apples. Dirty bass that be coming at you. Roller coasters like a supernova. Round the ring master, this my tabernacle. See you screaming, I'm like, what for? Oh, you pop? Yeah, I got popcorn. I don't wake up on the wrong lawn, so we won't stop. It's a lost cause. Take a look through the peephole. Yo, everybody's getting geek, bro. Stop the hate and let them neeks know that we turn the club into a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club, yeah, we turn the
Welcome back, everybody, to this Upper Division Glorious Smite League end of season final, where currently, although the graphic doesn't show it, Daves have just taken the first game of this best of 5 set against Hels Minions. We talked briefly about things that we'd like to see changed. Is there anything like coming into picks and bans now, Mitch, that you think either Daves or Hels Minions need to get rid of in order to have a more productive game in this one?
If you're gonna first pick the Kali, you should probably, you should probably ban her counter picks, because I think Hell's minions need to go into a safer draft if they're gonna do something risky, like especially in the first pick. But when it comes to specific picks in game one, the Rat, which as we can see has already been banned, and maybe the Yu Huang, just to prevent Ptolemy from being completely safe and doing a lot of damage, just to force him into a situation where he has a bit more risk to him.
Yeah, I think if you ban out a few specific things, you're also leaving like a lot open, so there's no one team that's going to get suddenly the one character to make a difference, where you might see many things come through that can make a difference. As we say, the Cupid also banned out there, which was going to be one of the things I would have said to have gotten rid of. Gods with a very, very strong performance on that in the last game. Kali is obviously still open. Daves feel comfortable in dealing with that should they need to. The Nemesis also open and getting first picked here now. Nemesis, as a character, takes most sort of basic attack junglers off the board in terms of 1v1 and what the Nemesis can do, just because of that passive and the shield being so strong, meaning that she can just box anyone in a single fight. Whereas on the other side, Hell's minions were very strong too. First picks here of Lancelot and Yu Huang both getting through to them. Now, Dave's going to have to pick some stuns if they're going to want to deal with this Lancelot, because Nemesis so far bringing no hard CC to the table, just a bunch of slows. Lancelot doesn't really care about those. He's just going to get on his horse and trot on away without a care in the world. So really need to see some hard CC and hard lockdown coming out for the rest of the picks. Lots of things available and open for that, obviously, that they could still pick into nice and early on in the draft as of right now. So quite easy to do.
I really like the Lancelot, but so it allows Scrollicles to have more teamfight presence on to dive the backline. But if they're going to pick the Lancelot, they're going to work on the communication, because Lancelot can dive, but he dives really far, and he's going to need to follow him up. So he could go full damage and try and obliterate the backline, or he's going to, probably go into some tank items as well, because that's what Lancelot really benefits from. So with Lancelot, I'm hoping Hell's minions have some picks in store to follow him up, which Yu Huang definitely can do with his ultimate. And Yu Huang now taken from the side of Dave's, now on the Hell's minions. I mean, it's very safe. And we saw it with Ptolemy, now we're going to see it with Hewitt, and I think it's just a very safe pick into Nemesis. I think Nemesis doesn't particularly struggle into these two, but they don't particularly struggle into her. So I think Dave's kind of needs to focus now on that. They can pick their mid and the support, which instead they're going to pick a Ravana and a Ymir.
Ymir obviously good with the stuns. The wall can do big work against Lancelot in terms of just stopping him from getting to the back line. I'm really in favour of that here right now. The Yu Huang as well obviously can go over it, but the Ymir can sort of keep up throughout that dash and keep that one there, keep the wall ready to just isolate him afterwards. So nice lockdown. The Raven again with the root and getting no stun, so sort of just not paying this Lancelot much attention. Of course,
Ooh.
this Lancelot could go into the solo lane. There is no guarantee that that is a jungle
Hmm.
pick. We've seen it in the solo before in the lower division in this league, so there's no reason that this couldn't be a flex pick and that we see it going elsewhere. As the final pick coming through is the Ganesh, and we start to see bans and definitely ADCs getting focused out here. Heimdall and Chernobog being taken away so far, followed up with Baba Yaga, and only the Daves left to ban, and they take away the Hoon bans. So interesting, sort of recognizing that again this Lancelot could be solo and that they don't want to deal with that themselves, as well as it was piloted in that previous game.
Yeah, I mean, it's very annoying for Nemesis and Ymir to deal with as well, especially since they have low CC immunity. And I love this Ganesh pick because, okay, I love Ymir, I love both these supports, but if Ymir's caught out, and obviously with low immobility he might, if Ganesh just silences him during that duration, Ymir's going to die. Because he's not going to get beats for a Ganesh silence, he is. And then Hell's Minions coming in with an Ulla, which is a very interesting pick.
Yeah, taking some of the, again, it can get over the Ymir walls, and again, we've not really got any hard CC ultimates right now that Nula needs to worry about. You know, there's no Daji on the table, the Bats has been taken off the table, with no Thor that's been picked up, and we've got the jungle and solo 4 days, which are going to be the main things that are going to be diving this backline on Hell's Minions, so the Ula, honestly, a very safe pick. Now, we could be very cheeky here. Now, I don't know how likely this is, but there is the possibility that we see this Ula go into mid and the Yu Huang go into ADC. I don't think it's overly likely, but it's possible. On the other side, Kukulkan and Chiron getting locked in, so big team fighting. Oh, this Ymir wall really going to help with those, but I'm a slight bit concerned that there's just very little lockdown and very little setup for this Kukulkan. Kali comes back, and I think in this game, this Kali does have a good bit of fun, and the Lancelot is indeed going to be solo as I expected. Dave's not drafting at all as well as they did in the last game. I think Hell's Minions, just looking at these on the whole, immediately I'm favouring them for this one.
I'm very surprised they picked Kukulkan and Chiron, knowing that Scrollercoaster has played Kali already, and I'm very surprised out of all the picks, it came in 10th. But looking at these comps, it's definitely the Daves are kind of doing a Kali where it's going to be focused around Ymir, because if Ymir's not doing his his thing, freezing and walling, Daves, I think, are going to struggle a bit in the team fights because they don't have the strongest CC. I do like the Ravan pick, it can chase down the Yuan quite well, but now that we see the Sunslot in the solo lane, he doesn't have to worry about his team following in as much. Of course, they still want to back him up and follow him, but with him having a bit more tankiness from solo lane, that's definitely going to help him. Of course, Scrollercoaster didn't do awful with the Kali in game 1, he just needed a bit of his team to back him up a bit more, but with this comp, he definitely has that, hopefully. And it should allow Scrollercoaster to be enabled to late game to do what he wanted to do in game 1. And with this Ulla, I think that's probably my least favorite pick of Hell's Minions. He did get nerfed recently, but I don't think the nerf is big enough to really affect his win rate and stuff like that.
Absolutely not. He still has that massive cooldown.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The other thing it does provide, though, is a nice early pivot for this Kali to fight around. As right now, if you look at the last game, you had the Osiris, but you're looking into a rat, and every time that Scrollercoaster made that rotation to solo, Mino was just ulting away and not caring. They didn't really manage to pick up anything from him. And having this Ula here and a Chiron, which Kali is able to chase down, she's able to sort of stick to the side and stun out the Chiron dash. You've got a target that's very killable for a Kali, same with a Kukulkan, and you've got Yu Huang and Ula around who can almost provide the setup for the Kali to go and run in. They've both got this CC that's able to lock down these characters. Chiron can cleanse himself, but how likely is it that he's going to have used that to clear the wave? So it's much better for the Kali in this game. I think she's got better picks around her as well as just against her as well. I think this game we could definitely see that start to run over it. Now, there is a potential to shut that down. Archie can, of course, go in to start invading and sort of putting out this pressure that the Nemesis can have against the Kali. You wait for the stun, you press your shield, you win. And if you've got the pressure from solo as well with a Raven, it can help out, but against the Lance, it's 50-50, so it's all going to be sort of to do with these mid rotations, the support rotations, and helping out the jungle, and playing around this Yu Huang and early for the Kali, and I do think overall Hels have got the better draft here and can definitely take this game.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's just the Cuckoo Khan pick I'm very scared about because if he falls behind and Hell's minions are on top of him, he's not going to be doing that much for his team. He does have a lot of objectives to secure, he does have that, but if a Cuckoo Khan isn't ahead, he doesn't have his Jameer making the space or the setup for him, he's just not going to be able to do what he did in game 1. Because Ptolemy clearly likes to play a bit safe, get the poke out, and then do very big plays. He can definitely do that with Kukulkan, but he needs to be on point with his positioning, because if he's caught out as Kukulkan, he is. It's going to be very rare for him to get away, I think. And so I'm definitely going to side with you on Hell's minions. I sided with them in game 1, I'm going to side with them in game 2.
Yeah, again, for the Daves, it's all going to be about them becoming aggressive so that their backline can cast from range, because that is the great thing about Kogolkan and Chiron. They have such good range for just hitting people when they're not really necessarily in danger. So if they can take the fight to Hell's minions before it engages, they can sort of get the Kali and the Lancelot locked down, who are going to be the main aggravators on the side of Hell's, then Daves can take this. And they did it quite successfully last game. They did manage to isolate players, but just don't know if they're going to be able to find as much success with that into this composition. Now that also all comes into Hell's minions grouping better as well than last game. If they are as split as they were before, then it's going to be another free game for Daves, because they've got some great pick finders on this team. But for team fights as a whole, this is definitely looking to favour the Hells.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, the Nemesis as well, I like into the Kali as well, because I think either or can take each other on, but because I feel like obviously if Kali gets the stun, then Nemesis on a shield. If Kali doesn't get the stun, then Nemesis has a shield, so he'll be able to fight against the Kali. And I think now, with game 2 on its way, we'll transfer to the very handsome Locus and Zaz.
Thank you. And we are going into game 2 between Daves and Hell's minions. After the first game, both sides looking very, very strong. Obviously, Hell's minions had a great early to mid, but the Daves won out late game. So very, very interesting to see how the drafts turned out, especially since it looks like Daves want to go for more. When I look at this, I'm thinking early game, right?
Yeah.
Like once Archie hits 5.
That's fair. I have to agree with the desk. I think Hell's minions have absolutely outdrafted Dave's this game. I think Dave should have first picked the Yu Huang. I'm surprised that they went for the Nemesis. I don't. I think Nemesis is going to struggle at killing this backline. We know how difficult Hewitt is going to be to kill. I think Ula also is a really smart pickup. Doesn't care about Ymir. Actually, quite good into Nemesis. I love the application of hard CC onto Nemesis, and it's something they really needed to close out this draft. The only thing I'd be worried about is the Ganesh. I don't understand why they picked Ganesh, if I'm honest. But you know, Ganesh is still an all right pick. There's never a bad time to have a Ganesh. I just think there were slightly better picks. I'm more worried about, as they highlighted, the backline for Daves are going to really, really struggle, because I looked at their initial top 3 picks and I thought lots of fighting, lots of dive, but Ymir's going to have to peel for this backline, and Ptolemy already under a bit of pressure. Whoa!
Roller coaster blinked
What's
in, but
going
on the
on?
other side, Mino Kino taking advantage of that early game base damage of a Raven and just takes out the Lancelot before he
Crazy.
can even scale.
And that's a little bit worrying. I mean, Raven with a lead is pretty scary. Lancelot with a lead is pretty scary, but Lancelot from behind, I don't know what you offer if you're a Lancelot behind, because all you really have is damage. You don't really have a lot of CC. You have a cripple field, which is nice. You have a root and a small knockup, but you're really reliant on your early base damage. As actually will take that one. It has hit level 3 first, but yeah, that's got to be a point of concern. And I think we'll see a response to try and get some pressure back for mechs in the solo lane. But again, you're playing Kali, not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, Kali definitely has to take some time. Scroller Coaster has definitely shown he is no stranger to applying pressure across the map. I'm gonna be honest. You were saying something about Ganesh, right? And I'm just sitting here. It's like, you know what I think would be great into this? A Ganesh, because I see the same exact style of game one with a better executed draft. There is an Uller
Sure.
instead of Hachiman, so he just stuns someone. He can jump in if he wants to, but otherwise he's gonna axe someone, hit them from range. You got that. I see a dive team out of this team, and this time they don't have to worry about the Yu Huang because they've got the Yu Huang this time. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how they execute this draft in my mind.
Absolutely. I think the draft is super cool. I do think they are a bit CC light, and that could be a problem. But I also think it's going to be so difficult for Ptolemy and Gods for Life to just survive what Hell's minions will undoubtedly be throwing at them. And I think a lot of it comes down to Demon. As Axe is off the mark, but Scroll is rotated, and Ymir can be punished early. It's a nice cleanse, though.
Yeah, very good cleanse out of Gods for Life, using that Chiron one effectively.
Oh, it's nice.
Ymir's gonna live because of it. I was scared for Ymir, man. He gets stunned, all that, and then Chiron, man. The hell of the hunters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it works out. Ptolemy, I'm just excited to see how Ptolemy's gonna play. Last game, safest person on the map. This game, least safe person on the map.
I do think Cuckoo is a rather safe character in that you kind of just drop your 3, clear the wave, and sit under tower and just farm for 20 minutes. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be tuning into what's happening in the mid lane this game because there's not going to be any fighting between these two mid laners. But I do think the Kali is really smart into Cuckoo. You don't care about the damage or the knock-up from that Spirit of the Nine Winds as long as you're in that destruction and you're channeling it. You don't care about anything that ult does. And other than that, it's all just sort of damage from the Cuckoo. The slow ninja doesn't help, and here we go. The Cuckoo is under pressure. There's a big silence, but that's not going to help with the kill. And Demon has it level 5.
Ooh, he has hit level 5, but wise. I was waiting for the ultimate to come out, and I was like, you know what? It's probably wiser that he doesn't ult to Ganesh. But that was almost scary for not Dave's, but Hell's minions, because great engage in Ptolemy, but you don't have that follow up.
Yeah, and again, this Kali is going to take a little bit of while to get some items online. Has finished the Golden Blade. That's going to help with clear. That's all it's going to be helpful for. Same for the Nemesis, who definitely has a better early game. But again, not a lot of great targets to go on if you're Archie Baker. It's kind of very similar to game 1. Both junglers are going to have to play for a slightly later game because early game, there's not a lot of great targets to go on for either jungler.
Definitely not. I mean, you get one item on Lancelot or Robin. You get that Soul Eater on line. You're sustaining. You got Chiron who just runs away. Uller who runs away. Cuckoo, as you stated earlier, threes the wave, goes under his tower and just doesn't move from there. So it'll be very early game. Will probably be a lot quieter, I think, than first game. But that is in and of itself a problem. Because I think solo lane, you've got two problems. Wait, Archie's ganking Lance. Archie's ganking Lancelot. It is Lancelot. Does force the ultimate though. As Scroller Coaster does get stunned in Ganesh pillars, but not. It is his Ganesh pillars. Spirit of Nine Winds is used, and that's it. They get 2 ultimates. One ultimate on each side.
Yeah, that's It looked like a decent engage. The Dharmic pillars were okay. Again, Ptolemy had already used their speed immunity, so had to use the beads as well. Is what I was trying desperately to say. So that's a win. And a good usage of the Dharmic pillars. Again, this Ymir is already very, very tanky. They just don't have the damage yet. Yu Huang does damage early is okay, but most mages aren't going to be able to kill Ymir on their own. Ganesh, the same problem. Kali, the same problem. No early damage. So this Ymir demon is able to tank up a lot of stuff at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's Golden Blade on assassins, and to be fair, Nemesis I think did ult there as well, so there was also that. Maybe they could have shredded Demon, but no, not Demon, Dahlia.
I think the Nemo was used in an attempt to kill Mex, but whoa, there's another solo kill. Man, this Raven is deadly.
Yeah, and 3-man
What a
rotation
rotation.
coming over to take Scroller Coaster. I was diving
Oh,
the
no.
T1 tower. No, you can't do that. Rob's gonna just Soul Eater 3 you. And
Wow.
it almost dies, only to go to the same HP he was when Scroller Coaster started. Oh no, unfortunate. But I mean, to be honest, Mino Kino is taking advantage of his early game aggression, just like Max did the game before. Except that's the roles reversed.
Yeah, you've got to be seriously worried now as we see. Whoa, Gods for Life gets a solo kill, gets pushed into tower. It's a really nice dueling dragons, but I don't think there's going to be a kill out of this.
Yeah, I mean, Gods for Life seems to probably have the
Okay.
dash up. I mean, he hasn't used it in a while. Very, very wise if he uses it
Damage.
now. But he
Wow.
decides to go in for the kill. No ultimate on this guy. He uses the
Body blocks.
beads to try to get Hewitt, but great body blocks from Dahlia.
It's all action. It is amazing compared to what we had in game one. It's a solo kill for Gods for Life. We've seen that time, and we saw that last game. And I'm surprised. I was really happy with putting IM4 on a much more aggressive pick than the Hachiman. It's not worked so far for obvious reasons. A solo kill favors God for Life there. They eventually get a return kill, but he played so long. I understand that the use of the beads to avoid the knock-up from Hewitt, but again, good body blocking from Dahlia just to and the jungler as well to stop that final auto attack coming through and save the life of Hewitt, who very nearly gave Gods for Life a double kill there. But it still feels pretty good for Dave's. It feels like all the momentum is with them at the moment. They've got pressure in solo. They've got pressure in duo. There's a 2-level lead in mid. Again, you're kind of, I guess you just stall it out now and hope that Kali can do something late game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think the beads was necessary there for the Chiron if he just 180'd where his dash went.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it would have been a great double kill. Unfortunately, just a little bit of overcommitment. But as you said, Daves are not in a bad position at now 3-level lead in mid just because off that one rotation. So
It's a bait.
yeah, Mex does ult out, does get the Archie is gonna fall here. Destruction. No, okay.
No.
Kali could have gone for it, but Nem ulted back on the backside, maybe expecting Scroller Coaster to come back in under the tower. But Scroller Coaster learned his lesson after the first time. Don't dive under the T1 this early.
Yeah, exactly. You can't afford a second death pre 10 minutes. Archie already has a 1-level lead. You don't want to make that even more because Nemesis ahead, great. Kali behind, not good. And especially with how well Ptolemy's farming and Gods for Life as well. As I keep saying, there are no good targets at the moment. Hell's minions have to stall this out. They need to slow this game down.
Yeah, I mean, once that Kali comes online, if the Kali is in these team fights, because that was a problem that they had last game, was just not having Kali there present, and when Kali was there and present, it was generally late and picking up like some last minute scraps, only to have to leave or just leave or die.
I think that the Kali was fine last game. I think if Scroll can get to late game, should have a much easier time killing the backline. But again, we're a long way away from that. I also think Ymir Demon looks really really comfortable on this Ymir so far, and that's going to make Scroll's life really really difficult. One thing I'd say about this draft is that if you're forcing Ymir to peel on this team, then you've got a lot of then that kind of scuppers how Dave's want to dive, and because you kind of want Ymir diving with them. But I would argue that Raven and Nemesis can do it on their own. It's not the same as having a Ratatoska. That kind of means you're not worried about your support diving with you. But Demon's going to have to be pretty much fully focused on the peel this game. But Gold Fury started up, and with Cuckoo secure, this should be pretty free if they get it low enough.
Yeah, pretty free. You're also using Ymir. Ganesh Pillars does come out, and Dave's do confirm it with the Spirit of the Nine Winds and Ymir ultimate, but good contest from the Hels minions there. Definitely used 3 ultimates. I'm seeing a
Mhm.
Nemesis ultimate was used there in response as well. So 3 ultimates from Dave. So probably won't be looking to fight for the next minute or two.
But again, that suits everyone really, and no one's going to be unhappy if there's no fighting. Hell's minions don't particularly want to fight. They'll be unhappy to have lost Gold Fury, of course, but the reality is you can't contest Ymir Cuckoo, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Cuckoo ult did not secure it. I think it was already dead, but I could be wrong. Don't blame Ptolemy if that's wrong, but that's what it looked like. But regardless, you can't out secure that Gold Fury ever. You have to take the fight earlier if you want that to happen, and they were just a little bit slow to get there in time. So that's fine for them. Again, they just want to stall this out, slow this game down. And the lead is pretty big. That's something that has to be said. You need to close the gap as much as you can.
I mean, especially if you want your colleague to fight a late game, because right now, you said it earlier, Kali from behind is not going to be fun. You have also said it's going to be a bit easier for Kali, so should we see as Dave's pulling another objective, this time without the secure here, and they're just going to get it. Like, red team had no idea that that was happening.
Yeah, I think even if they did, I don't mind giving up Pyromancer. Again, it is quite a lead that the Daves have got together now. I don't think levels are so bad. Scroll is actually farming really, really well, keeping up with Archie. I think in the mid lane, a little bit down. Yeah, 2 levels down. That's got to be a concern. But again, it's Yu Huang. Don't expect Yu Huang to die anytime soon. It's just the damage coming out from this backline mage might not be so potent as Ptolemy on this Cuckoo Khan, who already has finished that book, got the stuff of Mirrodin online. This Cuckoo's going to hurt if you get hit, and they do have the setup to go with it. If Demon can get a good wall, get a good freeze, it should be easy pickings for Ptolemy.
100%. I mean, as long as Daves can keep Ptolemy alive through the dive, then Ptolemy is going to output a lot of damage. And we've already know Gods for Life last game had a phenomenal performance on the Cupid, so I'm not doubting on this Chiron as well. They're looking to just fight over here. One side, Aegis, but
there's the ult.
Oh no, does get the ultimate out.
Gods
for Life does get the resurrect off. So good patience from Gods for Life. That was just a weird 1v1 to watch, but it was a good 1v1 to watch. Gods for Life definitely showcasing why he's the favorite ADC in this game, I think.
And it was nearly went the other way. One more Duke, and I'm for wins that trade, and we're saying, what a great player, what a great player, soloing the Gods for Life. But there's an Nemesis ult on the scroller coast, who's very, very slow. And Ptolemy, nice destruction.
Yeah, force to use destruction. Spirit of the Nine Winds is used. Ravana going in on the fight, but Ganesh ult is going to come out to peel. Archie Baker that's a little bit off on his own. Does get caught out and crippled by that Lancelot ult. I mean, good engagement by Dave's there, I think, but maybe a little bit overdive.
This is something that we didn't really see much last game. We didn't see any punish on Scroll really stepping up far into enemy jungle. This time, Archie's willing to use everything, uses the blink, uses the ult, and knows that he has the backup coming from the Spirit of the Nine Winds. The destruction is well timed. The Cuckoo ult was well placed, but in the end, they're willing to commit a lot to keep this Kali down, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I think Archie is very happy as well to trade his life there to kill the Kali. It was good dueling dragons from Hewitt. I doubt Archie would have lived anyway. So a good response, and I suppose if there's anyone you want to get a kill on, it's Hewitt, who's quite far behind. But you have to say everyone's quite far behind in terms of levels. Only really Dahlia is keeping up. But again, has the Ganesh been impactful this game? I would say no so far.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I know Ganesh is not exactly the most early game. He does have that early game presence, obviously, but it's going to be interesting to see how those pillars are used in late game to separate out of the fight. Like we already saw a good sign in the last one. He pushed it in, basically had a member of the Daves on each side of the pillars. So it'll be very, very interesting to see.
Oh, this is
Ganesh
free,
ult
by the
come.
way. Yeah, goodbye.
Just free. Ganesh ult does come out, but I mean, you're not contesting a cuckoo.
Nope.
You're not winning that one.
No, but I like what Hell's Minions are doing. You've got Scrollland mechs getting some much needed farm on the right hand side, stealing away speed, stealing away backs for Scroller Coaster. So only a level down, which when you look at the rest of the team is not too bad. Well, actually, I say that they've actually all caught up a little bit, I suppose, in terms of levels.
Except I am 4.
Yeah, but that's still going to be a problem. This is nice grouping now. There's nothing really that the Hell's Minions can do about this kind of grouping. So absolutely use your lead. Take these tier 1 towers off the map. I wouldn't be surprised if they head to solo. More likely, they're going to wait for Pyromancer and just worry about that. But yeah, they're playing really, really clean right now.
Yeah, and as we're transitioning, we're kind of I'd say middle to late mid game. As we're transitioning to late game where all these objectives are happening, how soon do you think Fire Giant gets pulled? Good invade from Scroller Coaster there. Spirit 9 wins does come and ultimate. Oh my goodness, gravy. Gods for life though, outputting some damage. But he's gonna hit one of these ults. Sagittarius not good, but he's got to have the 2-up. No, it just barely doesn't have the 2-up in time to kill. IM4 might fall instead though.
Oh wow.
It's fine. IM4. Scroller got out, right? Scroller got out, so it's all good. Maybe not the best death, especially with Fire Giant being up and Pyromancer being up. I mean, on the other side, you're seeing 3 members of Dave's coming over there. Nex is trying to contest it a little bit, but and they don't have the Spirit of the 9 Winds just used on red buff, but they do have Ymir ult, so that'd be interesting. But are they still fighting? I just look over. It's like, are they still fighting? Archie trying to kill Nex? But back to the point I was trying to make. Going into this late game, how soon do you think Dave's pulls Fire Giant? I mean, a lot bigger lead than it was last game. This is 9k in the lead.
There's no reason they can't all walk over and do it now. And honestly, when God's backs and he'll have quite a bit of gold in hand, level 20 already, this Chiron is a real problem. Minokino's level 19, Ptolemy's just fine at level 18. You can. I would expect Gods for Life to start heading over just backed, and I think Gods will push this trebuchet, and then they'll start grouping up around Fire Giant. And there's really nothing that the Hell's Minions can do. Now, if they can get a pick onto Minokino, that will help their cause. But again, just a little bit off the mark with their engagements here. Scroll backs out, and then Mex ults in, and they're just on slightly different wavelengths with these engagements here.
I mean, that pick would have been huge. Like, there's a Fire Giant right there. You probably got their tankiest member outside of maybe Ymir, just base prots. And we were just talking about it, and now Dave's seeming to have heard us through the game is pulling this Fire Giant. It's 40% HP, but they do still have Ptolemy's ult. Spirit of the 9 Winds still available. Next is going to try and make a hero play to try and confirm it, and does fall to the confirm from Ptolemy, taking 2 birds out with 1 stone. And they're seeming like they're ready for more, trying to push this lead. Dueling Dragons does come out, but they're content to just sit in Ganesh cage and chill as the rest of Hell's Minions disengages. Dahlia, the entire enemy team's there. Ward or no, Dahlia might get caught out here, but fortunately damage isn't there. It was great blink from Scroller Coaster. Goes on Gods for Life. He might fall here. No ultimate to keep himself alive, but unfortunately Destruction does fall out. Minokino does pick up 1, does pick up 2 kills, and Hewitt probably going to be the 3rd kill. Unfortunately, just your 3's down, ult's down. There's not much you can really do, and Minokino will pick up Hewitt for a triple kill behind Hell's Minions' own T2 tower.
Yeah, and it snags a desperation for the Hell's Minions. You can't out-secure Kukulkan. You're relying on Ptolemy to make a mistake, which I just don't see happening. It's a very low odds that you steal that with the level 17 Lancelot. Now you can argue that at level 17 and you're a Lancelot, it doesn't matter if you die trying to steal. It's not you're in a losing position regardless. So in that regard, I hate the attempt, but then Scroll blinks in. It's almost a kill. It's almost a good fight. We see a nice action. Gods for life taking tower shots. One more shot will do it. Wow,
And the leap
amazing.
from IM4.
And suddenly, it's all been super clean. And then there's just a moment like that where Gods for life dies, both relics up. Bizarre.
I feel like I'm gonna agree with you. It has been very clean. It's been basically clinic. Both teams playing similarly to how they did last game, maybe a bit more mechanically strong. But yeah, Dave's you can't have your Chiron split pushing in mid lane alone with a team like this one. Unfortunately, Max does die, ults into 4 people on his own, but Scroller Coaster on the back end tries to get something done, but Ymir freeze, Nemo, you're gone.
It's okay. So it's a series of odd calls, I think. Obviously, Gods for life. I don't know. Maybe they lagged or something. I don't know. That's weird. But then once they get that kill, Hels minions, they suddenly think, "Oh man, we can fight this. It's a 4v5 or a 5v4, I should say, in our favor. We should do some fighting." Whereas actually, that's the worst thing they can do because there's still a massive lead for the Daves. They have Fire Giant. You need to use that time where you've just got off Chiron. Use it to get some farm because you still desperately need it. You're still so behind. But instead, Mex goes for an odd sort of engagement, does pretty well at avoiding the Cuckoo ult. But really, you're unlikely to kill anyone there. Scroll dies, doesn't have beads up. It's just an odd engagement. When in that situation, you've just picked the ADC. You need to spend that time farming, not fighting.
As IM4 not going to take this lesson to heart, is going to die to the giddy up from Chiron. Gods for Life has had a clean match against this IM4 this game. The older not really working out. Red team might be looking to re-engage. I mean, Gods for Life is at 50% HP, so he is killable, but Demon and Minokin will be there to,
it's
desperate
now.
Yeah, I will say this. I think that is blink in from the Kali, and I think that might have been beads or just the one. Nope, just the one from Gods for Life. Not even needing to use his relics. And Lancelot could get a kill here, but Gods for Life just a little bit cleaner. Scroller Coaster dies on the back end by this Nemesis. And Dahlia soon after. This could be a game-ending call almost. I mean, the timers are still short, but that's 43 seconds on both Scroller and Max, who died around the same time. 45 seconds on Ganesh. If not an end call, this is at least a Phoenix or two, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. I think it's still a little bit early to end. I think they can definitely take left Phoenix, probably some more as well. If they get a pick here, Mindful needs to be careful. If they get a pick, it certainly is within the realms of possibility that they can end all 5 members up. They don't have the Fire Giant, and I think that means they'll take this Phoenix, back off, and go for FG.
Very smart play. The Phoenix did take a little while, as you just said. Fire Giant wore off, so a little bit slower on the burn. So smart on the Daves to just back up, reset, get the positioning. I mean, at this point, that's what I got to do math real quick in my head. 17k of a gold lead almost.
It's frightening. Yeah. There's really nothing you could do about it. I think you have to give this up. Maybe you send Dahlia in to try and. Again, you can't steal, so try and silence the Cuckoo and at least force him to use beads before he ults to secure. That's maybe your best hope, but you can't steal this. Don't try.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
I'm gonna eat my words here. Oh, it's
Hels
early!
Minion is trying. Daves does confirm it. Gods for Life is going to pick up 2, pick up 3. They're going to pick up 3 off the back of that. That is, in my mind, an end call. All of them happen so quickly, just a flash, a blink, and it's just over. Side of Daves using their insurmountable lead to just obliterate the defense from Hels Minion, who didn't seem to be on the same page for the entirety of mid to late game, I think. Scroller Coaster trying to play the hero plays, Max trying to play the hero plays. He's not the Osiris of last game. He hasn't had a lead. And Dahlia, oh my goodness, Dahlia force the dash. They're going to get this Phoenix and possibly Dahlia as well. And that's just going to leave IM4 to defend this Titan from the entirety of Daves who have FG. This could be game. IM4 is gonna have to pull out an amazing performance just to stop this. And unfortunately, Gods for Life, Giddy's up him into the team, and he dies. Great fights from the Daves. Amazing game 2. Probably the cleanest game possible.
Yeah, super clean. And I do want to give credit. You mentioned a hero plays. That's when you're that far behind, hero plays is all you have. All you can do is Hail Mary, try and steal a fire giant, try and get a pick onto anyone. Any kind of thing like that. That's all they had as an option in that game. They just fell behind so early. That one snowballed out of control. There was nothing they could really do about it come late game. But yeah, super clean. They'll be full of confidence, riding high, going into the third game of this best of 5 set. They could round it off and make it a 3-0. I expect some kind of response. I expect a different support, a different solo laner, probably a different jungler, different ADC. They'll switch it up and bring something crazy out to try and turn this set on its head.
I've just got one point to make. I agree with the hero play. At that point, someone's got to make the hero play. Someone's got the sacrifice. I don't think you throw 3 members for it, though, just because you need a defense on the back end if it fails. But yeah, great fight from Dave's. Clean. I mean, there were some hiccups here and there. Gods for Life, 2 deaths that could have been 100% preventable.
Yeah.
Could have been 7-0 and 6 instead of 7-2. But we're going to go and throw it over to the desk segment, let them break down the rest of this game for you guys, and we'll see you guys in game 3.
Well, that was a very different dynamic for game 2 of this set. Dave's really taken charge of that one. Huge lead by the end of it. There's 20,000 gold lead by then. We're only 26 minutes in. That was brutal, really brutal. I mean, Gods for Life. I feel like this guy's out here having the set of his life. This is some incredible plays. Not that any of the rest of Dave's are playing poorly. I mean, Ptolemy hit some really important ults in that game, but I mean, this man's just running riot. He has done in both the games so far. And I'm not gonna lie, if Scroller Coaster doesn't get over there for the next game, I can see this one just being another Gods for Life show.
Yeah, unfortunately, like Dave's just got a lead and just completely ran away with it. Even thought Hels Minion had a better comp. It looks like we were proven wrong because they got their lead and completely took the game. Like Demon's P was really well as the setup. Minako was just constantly in there, like backline, getting huge damage off. Archie Baker getting the picks and really well timed ults to help his team burn down for all like enemies that came in their way. Ptolemy again played safe, a lot of damage as well with the ultimates as well, the objectives secure, and then of course Gods for Life just completely obliterating whoever came into his path. Like, and unfortunately with those minions, they just weren't on the same page again.
No, I mean, shout outs to Demon there as well. Like some of the body blocks I saw in that game with the walls were absolutely huge, just keeping people in that tornado. It's some revoltingly good plays. Really well done from him. And from Daves as a whole, they just seem to be more together in these fights. They seem to know what one another is doing, how one another is playing, and they're just on top of things a lot more than it seems Hell's minions are. And they're going to need a real good pep talk here to get themselves out of their own heads, even, because that was a really strong game from Dave's. Just controlling everything from vision, even 1,000 player healing from a Chiron. It is just absurd, as well as everything else that was done. I mean, Dave's has just obliterated this. I will be interested to see if Hell's minions are able to pull this one back. And it needs to come. I do think it just needs to come from playing around this duo lane a little bit more. Scroller Coaster has not been able to find a huge amount of luck in any of the games so far, so hopefully that's what we'll see. But we shall do that ahead of the next game. For now, we are going to take a short break while the next game gets prepared, and we'll do some more analysis into the picks and bans. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this as much as we are, and we shall see you very shortly for Game 3 of Hell's Minions vs Dave's in this Glary League Upper Division Final.
that nemesis, thinking her shield is pure scale. War done the biz, I got my scythe on me. Pray to God I don't hit it, or you'd be the one on the gray scale. Yeah. Spitting buzzer blows smite, even though it is shy. Fuck me, I need a new purpose in life. Yeah, welcome back to speed, fountain gang, rise up, run it down, no regrets, spawn back at the fountain. Yeah, fountain gang, Mr. Thana won't get removed from the team, but unlucky we try again. Pure skill flowing down my veins. No pussy guys on my track. Yeah, we talk about you, Capri ugly ass, but give me a rest. Only thing you good at, you fucking old, but don't even get me started on you, Aries. Yeah, let's throw it back to some skill. Crucible, be my cruising bro. Spinning, flipping, pushing peace. My man knocks up woman on the daily while looking kinda hazy. What I wouldn't do to be my cruising bro. Spitting buzzer blows smite, even though it is shy. Fuck me, I need a new purpose in life. Yeah, I might be an old life, but you talking, walking, breathing, smile. Fuck man, you might need more help than me. You plebs are playing casual while I'm sitting in the Galarian League. I must be cooler, right? Never mind, casual's better than a bombshell. All the love to my boy princess, but babies ruined the league. Should have seen that coming when all the big egos come together, turning it into a competition on who can cry louder. What a shame, really gets me proud of move on. I'm sorry, as we fucking legend. All the love's spaced out.
He knows the matter and he don't negotiate. He knows exactly what to say. He'll reassure you how the world is gonna be, but when he's wrong he's gonna leave. And so you might become upset and possibly regret the things that you have said when your heart went numb. You'll think it was your fault and question every thought. The weatherman is gone, so my heart goes numb. When single drops are enough to run up, what the hell are you gonna lie for? As they're sliding past, wonder why we didn't last. What the hell are you gonna lie for? And so you might become upset and possibly regret.
Welcome back, everybody, to the third game of this best of 5 set in the Glorious Smite League Upper Division final between Daves and Hels Minions. Daves have been running away with it so far. They are seeing themselves at a 2-0 lead over Hels Minions, who really need to get their heads into this game. They want to recover and bring this one back into a full best of 5 and have a chance at winning the first season in this league. What do they need to do to do it? Mitch, we've
Not
seen-
pick Collie again.
Not pick Carly again, I agree. Dave's seemed very competent with dealing with the Carly from Scroller Coaster. I don't think that they're having any issues with it being picked up at all. And as such, as you say, probably something that we now want to move away from.
Yeah, I think he needs to maybe play something a bit safer, maybe something a bit more team fight oriented, maybe a Nejar, maybe a Humbat, just something where he doesn't really have to rely on his ultimate all the time, because of like, I think he needs to be in a situation where him and Mexi are a bit more on the same page as well, because there's multiple times where they both initiate whilst the other's behind. So maybe if Scroll goes into a pick that's like a bit safer early to mid game, but then if he's going to late game, him and Mech can dive the back line and then be on the same page, and then hopefully win a bit more team fights. Because right now, I just don't think the Kali's worth the look at this point.
purely banning out mid laners here, Hell's minions as well. Yuhuang, Baba Yaga, and Thoth coming out. Whereas Dave's doing the exact same thing they did last game and banning out their own jungle pick that they picked. And this time, they're going to grab themselves the Lancelot. Mex didn't have the best performance on this in the last game, managed to find himself getting soloed twice in the first 5 minutes. And this time, he's going to be facing against it potentially, or it could be taken by the jungle in Alfie once again. This Lancelot is able to be a flex pick. They could be in either position there in the support, solo or in the jungle. So we could see this either way. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. No.
Don't do it. They're gonna
No,
do it.
don't. No,
They're
do
gonna
that.
do it.
No,
Don't do it.
No,
No, don't do it.
We're gonna get a Kali. Oh.
Oh, are we trolling?
Are we trolling? We're doing a little bit of trolling.
We do a little bit throw. Soul.
Oh.
He's getting locked in as well.
And
Hercules. You know what? I envision this just being the duo lane.
yeah, they definitely could be. Like Soul gives a lot of pressure, a lot of damage, a lot of late game potential. Then Hercules coming in with a lot of CC that can't really be beat once it's activated. You know, the push, the knock up. It's very hard to deal with the Hercules, especially when he has the ult as well, which is a lot of damage and can do a lot of objective pressure. And then Days respond with a Heimdallr Yamoja.
Now, 2 picks that I really like together. Heimdall having some nice safe lane gameplay. I mean, he's able to just get out of anywhere should he choose to. And Yamoja just providing so much early pressure and that ultimate doing so much. I'm a big fan of this so far as we see the tier come out as well. Hell's minions are really throwing this draft into the air. I'm not sure what to think of it.
Yeah, I'm not really particularly sold on it yet. I think tier does provide a lot for a team fight, good initiation, good damage, a lot of backline control, and I think Mexi could play it. I mean, we saw what tier could do at the Masters. Like Deathwalker played it so well, but Mexi is not Deathwalker, so we'll definitely see. It allows him to play a bit safer in lane, but we'll definitely have to see how it plays out. But I'm more in favor of the Lancelot, Heimdall, and Yamoja as the top 3. And then Hell's minions banning out the Nox and the Janus, with Dave's banning a Geb and a Cupid, which is pretty much standard. I mean, Nox is very annoying.
Hell's just... They're not allowing Ptolemy to have fun, surely, right?
No, they're not.
They're banning out pure mid lane picks.
No, I mean, the Nox could be in support. Actually, no, I'm being stupid. That's the emotion right there.
Yeah. I mean, Yamoja mid.
I mean, I'd love to see it. I mean, Ptolemy could probably do it at this point.
If we remember the second game of the split, there were some interesting picks in this season. The first upper division game I remember we saw, was it a Jingqian jungle come out from Archie, and like was it a cleaner mid, a Janus support. There was a wacky game in there, so it's quite possible that we could see some weird things as we see an Aphrodite getting hovered.
I kind of like this. It enables the soul, the tier, and stuff like that. And Anubis.
We maybe Anubis gets locked. No way.
Okay.
I was about to say I was ready to see the E-girl E-boy combo of the Afro Susano, but the Anubis gets locked in. I'm assuming this is going towards Jay Hewitt. Is he just going to go for kills? Are they just pulling out now some comfort picks and thinking, you know, we're losing when we draft normally, let's just draft something that we, you know, can potentially stomp on, because they can catch people out, and let's be real, they can definitely catch people out. I don't think anybody would be expecting this.
Yeah, no, they definitely seem to be, and the Circuit and the Discordia. I mean, this is going to be lights out for the Anubis. As soon as he's ordered by Circuit, he is not really going to be doing anything, and then Discordia, one of the safest bids in the game, and in my opinion, one of the strongest, because her team fight potential and damage is just so strong.
Yeah, I mean, Circuit into Anubis is just revolting. Like, it's an immobile character who channels his abilities. I mean, this is just happy days for a Circuit. Same for Discordia, who's just going to wait for this Anubis to be immobile and then just do whatever it kind of wants to do. So, yeah, I mean, right now, this is definitely going to be something that favors the side of Dave's in terms of comps. I think the Fenrir is quite nice to sort of bring this together. It's going to be decent into this team. It's okay, like quite nice into Discordia, because you just wait for the 3, right? You wait for that immunity and then you go and do your thing, and you're going to get some nice free kills in there. But I mean, if you're not favoring Dave's here. I
I
just
thi-
don't see how this goes any differently.
I favoured Hell's Minions twice before, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with Dave's this time around. It looks like Hell's Minions are doing a bit of a Hail Mary here. Because if this comp gets ahead, it does a lot of damage, but considering how Dave's played game 2, I just don't see this going their way.
Is it a Hail Mary or a Hell's Mary?
Okay, okay, okay. Can I not cast this guy again, please? But yeah, no, I guess you could say it's a Hell's Mary. Oh god.
So, yeah, I mean, on paper, guess Dave's. I just don't see how this Hell's Minions draft even would work in like cohesion. I mean, sure, the Fenrir can go in with a tier. They're gonna burn a fair amount of beads with this compact. In fairness, this isn't the worst as a beads burner, but it's more single target beads rather than it is anything else. So you have to be sort of targeting 2 different people each time, so you're getting good value out of that every single time. I mean, they've
yeah,
got good speeds burning. They've got good consistent damage because they've got the soul in the back line. Anubis is going to be able to burn someone down, but as soon, if there's an Aegis comes out and this fight's over, then Dave's now. They're just going to heal up with the Emoja. They're going to have relics available to just keep themselves alive, and then they're just going to turn this on Hell's Minions while they've got no cooldowns available, and suddenly this is a lot more difficult for Hells, and
yeah.
I just can't see any way that this goes well for them.
Yeah, I mean, if they manage to somehow CC someone long enough to kill them, then yeah, they're going to be completely gone. But one thing that is worth to note as well with the Emoja, Hercules, Sol, and Anubis cannot get out of her ultimate. So team fights already are swinging in the heads of Dave's, and we're going to go ahead and go into game 3 and leave this absolute curse of a comp to Zatsa and Solonicus.
I don't know whether to say thank you or you very, very interesting people for throwing us into the set. But it's a very, very good game 3. They're already red team's already in the blue team's jungle. Like I am for Hewitt trying to clear the red buffalo. They do steal it. And all 5 members of Hell's Minion are here, and I not even time to speak yet. Like Tira blinks in on Ptolemy and Archie over there. Demon just having to sit there and just like, what's happening right now?
This is amazing, and you know what? The way they got stomped. Oh my god, they're doing this really. I think they could win this game normally with the comp they have. I genuinely do. This won't do them any favors, but you know, Ptolemy might.
So they've got a whole 5 minutes, right? IM4 did steal that purple buff, by the way, right? They had a whole like 5 minute, I'd say 30 seconds or something to do something before they just get outscaled because they don't have abilities. Told me die. I'm sorry. Like I have no words to describe what is happening right now. It is probably one of the most amusing things to watch, but at the same time, it is probably one of the biggest throws the Hell's Minions could do right now. Because I was about to say, going into this game, this comp wins every fight until 12 minutes, and then they pull this out. Yeah. So it's just, I appreciate them for trying to make the game as interesting as possible. Gods for Life trying to TP out does get it out. Like, there's still 4-man mid at level 1.
All right, to be fair though, IM4 has now hit level 2. So a massive power spike for the Hell's Minions. You got to be really, really scared for them now because Sol level 2. I mean, imagine if someone else is they're all hitting level 2. They're going to turn this.
Eventually, everyone's going to get the XP. The Hercules, I think, being the most important level 2 here. But like Lancelot's level 3 over there, free farming against Mex, who's level 1. This is just a barn burner to start already, and they're looking for the red buff invade again. 4-man red buff invade.
Man, I honestly quite liked their draft. I feel like they have so much like pick potential if they play it. I don't want to say properly, but you know, I feel like there was potential there. But they got stomped game 2. That's fair to say. They didn't get stomped game 1. I thought game 1 was pretty close. On another day, if things went right for them, they could have even won that game 1. As that's a great stun from Demon, who is apparently a premier Umoja player. So I mean, I guess that's exciting to watch. But I mean, when's this going to end? Are we saying 18 minutes or less?
It depends on when Hell's Minions wants to help us. If they're gonna kill Demon, Dahlia dies for it, but they get to
Worth.
pick on the Demon. I mean, like, the worst part is, right? Uh, you've got Archie, because he had all of his farms stolen earlier, is the same level as Scroller right now, even despite all this. They're just aiming for this T1. Lancelot's just like, he's reached 5. Lancelot has hit
Lancelot's
5.
here.
He's gonna like ult in, just wipe the board, fight over. Like, Lancelot was just sitting over the right lane farming this entire time, and then just TPs.
Okay, so maybe 18 minutes was optimistic. Maybe we're looking at 15 minutes. I mean, Mex has built Bauble though, which you've got to respect. The worst time in the game now, but 50% cooldown on tier sounds fun. I don't think Mex is ever going to reach that. I think the game will be over by then, but you gotta try something.
Oh my goodness, they're going for it again. The ADC rotation. Ptolemy's just dead. Like, he got riptided out. But, like, there's 5 members of Hell's Minions here. Demon next to fall here. I don't see any way. Yeah, he just gets jumped on by Scroll. What is happening? Are they? Did we miss the memo? Did the game mode change to assault in between games or something? Because I feel like I'm just watching an assault game right now.
Yeah.
Red
I
buff
don't know,
and
man. Unsurprisingly, yes, they're going for the road, and they might even. There's a DC Ptolemy. To be fair, this is the most Ptolemy has died in the entire set, so something's working.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely killing Ptolemy. If that's your goal this
Yeah.
game and just shutting Ptolemy down, it's great. Now, if your objective is to win the game, I feel like you're starting to lose the battle a little bit. I mean,
Possibly, yeah, just a little bit. They're definitely not. Well, that's the weird thing. What if they win this game somehow? I mean, what do you do game 4? Do you do the same again? Do you go back to a serious comp and get stomped? That would be really weird. I'd love to see that, but I don't see that happening quite at the moment.
here's how they win, right? They've got a time limit, right? Because as was said on desk, right? There's an Anubis against a Disco Circuit combo. Once that Circuit hits 5, your Anubis doesn't exist on the playing field. I was gonna say, before I saw the Circuit, once support hits level 12. No, when Circuit hits level 5.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you're in that Circuit. You're an easy target for some ultimates. Now, Hell's Minions won't have some ultimates for the next 3 or 4 minutes. Sol's got one, which is nice for them, but that makes it a little bit tricky. I suppose you're hamstringing yourself by doing this strategy, which we saw years ago in the minor league, I think, and it got a team kicked out, which is funny. But it didn't work then. Maybe it'll work this time.
Looks like pauses are not quite in sync, as there's a little bit of movement.
Well, maybe if they play 4v5, that would make it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I would rather not, because Ptolemy has had a little bit of a rough game already. I'm not gonna lie. Two deaths in 5 minutes, and you're losing your T1 tower in that same amount of time. It's an interesting game. That's all I'm gonna say. Their objective of shutting Ptolemy is working. I mean, you've already got 1-0 and 3 Anubis. They're the same level. You're gonna prevent that gold lead that the Daves have been pulling while you're just farming in mid while they're farming side lanes.
I think we should do a vote of when this game is going to end. I think people should earn channel points for it. 20 minutes and above or less. Maybe 15 minutes. 15 minutes or less, or is it going to be more? We've unpaused, so we're back to an even game in a 5v5. Although it might not be that even. When can you surrender in this? They might surrender soon.
I mean, it would be, it would be very, very saddening to see a surrender. To be honest,
I think
it'll just,
I don't think they can lose any more dignity than they already have.
I mean, fair enough, fair enough. It, it'll be interesting to see because the worst part is, right, they can win this if they play extremely well
Great
late game.
stun from Demon. Shout out to Demon. That was perfect peel.
Yeah. I will say, if Demon keeps being this premier support, oh my goodness, Dahlia. I see Dahlia on the map. So great taunt from Circuit does get the kill. But as great as this has been to watch, I think Hell's Minions needs to go back to traditional play style.
Oh,
Because at this point, you're hemorrhaging. You are hemorrhaging a lead to Dave's just because you rushed down that mid wave tower. And it is actually looking like people are doing this. Scroller Coaster does get killed by Minokina, who has safely been making a lead over here. I am for almost killing Gods for Life on the other side.
yeah, the ADCs are not playing ball, and they're actually playing a lane, which is cool to see. It's cool to see them fighting actually, and I'm for switching up, playing the Sol, and looking already a little bit better. I think Gods did get a solo kill, but we won't worry about that. That there may be a couple of other factors affecting this game, possible.
Like Invader's Curse. Invader's Curse might have helped.
Yeah. I don't see this working, but
no, I don't either.
because Demon's so good. Good
Demon does spot them out. I don't know if they walked over a ward or what, but Nubisol is grabbed. Emoja ulting as well, but Gods for Life has got to run away as Hewitt's gonna get him as Talia kills Ptolemy again. Oh no, poor Ptolemy. I mean, at this point, there's got to be a certain level of Ptolemy's just got to bite the bullet, and the rest of the team's got to just.
I mean, eventually the side lanes will rotate, and then this game will be over. But I suppose they're killing time. I mean, in theory, when you put 5 people in mid, and there's nothing you can do about it. The idea is that if you end quickly enough, if you get to the Titan quickly enough, you could do it. But they've actually, the fact that they're not committing to it now is worse for them. Like they should still be trying to do it, whereas actually now they're splitting up, then it makes it 5 times worse for them. But I'm not sure there's any point in being super critical about this one.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They're playing very, very weird. Did I just see Dahlia try to hog Ptolemy? Please tell me I didn't just see that. Anyway, the hog coming out of Dahlia is the ultimate out of Archie onto Hewitt. Hewitt is gonna die. Nubis with Circuit ultimate, not really gonna do too much there. Dahlia kind of left to his own devices against 4. This game will be very, very. It'll be very. I want to say interesting, but we've said that like 5 times now.
It's not the word I'd use, but
yeah, I want to see how Hell's Minions are going to bring this in the late game.
I think late game is not going to happen, if I'm honest.
I mean, they are punishing this Lancelot for just being over here. Tier, great Fearless and Amino Kino, and dies under tower. It's way too much displacement. A great pick by Scroller Coaster and Mex there to stem the tide in solo lane. As
I guess so. I mean, I guess you get a big shutdown. Yeah, this is we should do a Q&A. We should get printers in here. We should get Mitch and Alton Archer in here. All right, we should do something else. I kind of feel hello printers. I feel a bit sorry for Dave's because this is the final. They have to play this hand that they've been dealt, which is they have to play against this, and you still need to win this 3rd game, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Archie barely survives that one, but yeah, it is. As a finals game, it is a little bit disappointing to watch this one, but
Game one was not bad for Hell's Minions. They were doing fine. Game two is a stomp, but that's not reflective of the entire set. It will be remembered as such, though. This will be remembered as a stomp. But if you think about game one was competitive. I really thought so. But just blink. Yeah, there's not really much to say about this. I'm surprised they haven't surrendered yet. But there we go.
I mean, it is what it is. There is still the potential to come back, right? Like tier late game, he's gonna be a menace to the backline. They've already shown that the displacement from this team. You got Phantom Roll, Hercules, tier. There's the amount of displacement. Hewitt's over in dual lane again, looking for Gods for Life. Gods for Life is taking that 1v1 against IM4, but your crystal's down, buddy, and beads are used. And so's the ultimate. So Gods for Life does have the ability to turn this around. Minokino solos Mex. Not even solo. Gets 3 kills, and 3 kills across the board as Ptolemy comes in rotation.
Ptolemy stole that. I don't care. That was a double kill. That was a 1v2.
That was a one. It was definitely a 1v2. The Scroller Coaster is looking for more to kill here, but unfortunately, it looks like the Hell's Minions have maybe lost a battle off screen.
I mean, they should surrender now, but it's whatever. Well, I apologies if we're wasting people's time. I wish there was something more constructive that we could do. Is there must be low divisions fight? Can we get printers to talk about low division finals and talk about let's use this time productively. And I don't know.
Yeah, I could totally do that. Lower division finals. Yeah. Well, we're still in the semis in the lower divisions. We do see RGB get destroyed.
Kill by.
Go on.
Great kill there. I'm gonna be 100% honest. Cirquet dies. It's a great pickup. They get 2. They get the Emoja, right? But I mean, Slancelot's level 14. Who's the next closest level on the side of Dave's? 11 on the Soul. So this guy's just gonna 1v4. He's got Soul Eater. You're not killing him. Too much sustain.
We could be looking at the second pentakill in GSL right here.
True.
Yeah.
What a way to get him. Yeah.
It'll be. Oh no! I am for. Oh, the mounts the horse inside disapparate. That's not gonna help you.
There we go. But... Oh, look at that! God's tanked the tower. That was nicely done.
Yeah, Heimdallr being a great guy.
Next
is like, no, you're dying, Mino. You're not getting away from this.
Oh, Mino died. That's the second shutdown of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going huge this game. So more gold for the side of Hell's Minions, as Hell's Minions are running at Gods for Life, 5 and 4 level deficit, respectively. And Gods for Life isn't scared. He's gonna run at you. Demon does get the kill, does get the stun, and the kill is going to be out because I feel like you just don't live through that damage at that deficit. All right, where's gold lead at? It is 7K in 14 minutes, less than 14 minutes.
There we go. Wipe them off the face of the planet. Do it. I can't believe they haven't surrendered yet.
I'm also gonna apologize to the audience real quick. I want to cast this better for you guys, but like, there's honestly nothing to talk about. It's just
there we go.
Okay, there it is. Wait. Okay. For a minute there, I thought that was order side, and it took me a minute to realize that that's the chaos side. Very very entertaining. Few 14 minutes, but for a finals game, a bit disappointing. But at least it was entertaining to start with. So good fight, game 1, game 2. Thank you for the entertainment, game 3, I guess. But yeah, finals will go 3-0 in the favor of Dave's. I wish I could hype it up more.
Yeah, deserved winners. Over the first 2 games, they were the better team. I maintain that the game 1 was even and not even, but competitive, and could have gone either way. But that's that done with now. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll throw it to the desk. Desk can have that one. I'm done. Goodbye.
Peter says no.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're so excited to do this. Yeah.
So I will say, take nothing away from Dave's performance through that. The entire time they did their job. They played the game, they got their leads, they played it very successfully. Gods for Life once again just dominating the match on his own, even though he wasn't a part of whatever that mess was in mid lane. Just showing how strong of a set he had, and how much work he did for the Daves. As much as through the season, Archie and Ptolemy have been fantastic, he has absolutely been the star of the set. So well done to Gods for Life. He's been fantastic. Um, yeah, Hell's. I don't know. I guess this is just a UD attitude
Yeah, like hey,
issue.
So
Wouldn't see
I thought
this
you
in
said
an
lower
LD
division.
game.
I thought you said LD like actually I was about to
No.
say we're the good division, but
Yeah, we are the good division.
yeah. So Dave's played out their minds. Like they played well game one, and then they just completely stomped game two, and it obviously hurt Hell's Minions feeling so bad they decided to throw game three. And unfortunately, Hell's Minions game one actually was competitive. They were playing well, but unfortunately, they just lost their mental in game two.
Yeah, I think when you get stomped that hard, it can be difficult to bring it back. That's 100%, but that doesn't mean that you don't go out and actually, try to bring it back in and play seriously. And they've just not done that. And honestly, they've let what was a good final kind of go away a bit. I think they've kind of let the division down a little bit. From what has otherwise, it was a good final. Yeah, game two was a bit of a stomp, but game one was a close game and it was an interesting game. And there was no reason they couldn't have brought it back to be like that anyway. That's just, I don't know. For me, that's not something I approve of, and I genuinely don't think it's like. I don't think it's a positive attitude to bring into the community and a positive thing to bring into Playpool, and maybe just coming into competitive, you think that's a normal thing, and just like to credit out there, it's not. This is just one of those situations that's been punished here, and it has been punished in the past in SPL when it's happened. So even in the pro leagues, this has been noted and punished. So I think we kind of just like to put that out there. This isn't something that we'd normally like to see.
Yeah, so it's like because GSL was obviously the first season, upper and lower division, and Princess does a lot of work to make this work, and it's worked really well so far. It's one of the better running leagues, and to have this as the upper division final game, like the biggest set, who's going to take it home? It's just a game one, yeah, really good, really interesting. Game two, okay, they're still trying, and then three, just because you lost, you decided, you know what, we're just going to throw. It's just bad mental, and unfortunately just it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's out of our control. It's out of Printer's control. It's out of Dave's control. But I guess Dave's played too hard and just broke Hell's mental. Unfortunately, 3-0 for the Daves, which they deserve. They played really well. Played out well all the season. They played well. I'm saying played well a lot. They really well. Can't say other than well played. All the players on Dave's deserve the win. Unfortunately, it's really unfortunate that they couldn't play the third game fully out, test their skill, actually have an intense game. Hell's just got in the mood and then through. So sorry to
But
everyone who's watching this stream.
yeah, we do apologise for the toddler's temper tantrum that we have seen here.
Yeah. So I think on that note, we're probably gonna end the stream, I think. Unless there's anything.
I want to jump in. Obviously that's game throwing. Obviously, not cool. Definitely not going to go unpunished. I mean, congratulations to Daves for winning the first GSL season. They are the GSL champions. Very good performance all throughout the season. It has been in season one upper division, it's been Daves and Hell Minions for the most part. We did see the rise of Synergia, but they did get knocked out in the semi-finals. So we do have that third place game yet to be played between Hamburger and Synergia, but well, let's look at the lower divisions as well, and we can transition to that. We do still have the semi-finals of this division to be played. Just Built Different versus Euphemism happening tomorrow at, I believe, 7:30, but don't quote me on that. Friday, we have Spaced Out versus King Kai's. Gonna be two really good set of games. No game throwing, I would imagine, from either team.
Definitely not.
And
The true final being played on Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that semi-final between Spaced Out and King Guys is on Friday at 8:30 p.m. British Summer Time. Is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I believe we do have a Cell Ionicus girls in that set as well. So, you know,
Hell yeah.
you want
Gonna
to hear
pick us
that
up.
sexy voice, you know, you can tune in.
And as spaced out, we do promise that we will not throw a game. We'll make it as entertaining as possible.
Yeah, no, it's been a really good season. Upper division, you gotta have the up and downs. Tried to fix it heading into split 2, but you know, did the best I can, I guess. But next season, hopefully, be much more, much better, hopefully.
Yeah, with that, I think we're gonna close up. I think.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to this GSL final. See you tomorrow for the LD semi-finals, and thank you Sats, Fileblood, Ionicus, and Ginger Archer for putting your time aside to stream what mostly was a good set. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.